Everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another live stream. As you know, today, quite interesting. Got a lot more stuff to cover today, as it is the 6.5 year anniversary. So, like always, main focus of the stream is obviously going to be seeing that everything that's in this update and having a look at the new units and Ark and all that fun stuff. Yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of stuff to cover in this stream, so hopefully you're ready for that. It's probably going to take a bit longer than the past streams, because as you know, anniversaries usually add a bunch more updates than normal updates, so definitely looking forward to this one. Anniversaries in this game, and in most gacha games honestly, have always been pretty good. So I made a list, kinda, of some important things so I don't forget, because sometimes I forget about things, but let's start it off with the news, have a look at everything that's in this update. That's probably going to take quite a while because there's quite a lot of updates that I want to cover, just to make sure everyone's aware of what they've added in this update, and then we'll start having a look at the new banner and covering the new units and stuff like that. There is also a new Insight unit today, which is quite interesting, so that'll be fun. Let's have a look first of all at the news, just to check everything that's in this update today. I don't know why my cat wants to join, but he's right next to me. Unfortunately I don't have a camera, but why is he right here? I don't know, it's a pain. So let's have a look. What should we look at first? Of course, you've got 6.5 year anniversary, which is the main point for this update. The maintenance notice, we'll have a look at this first. So obviously maintenance notice happened today. The main point of this update is of course the 6.5 year anniversary, which we've been preparing for like a month or so at this point. And then Chronicles has been updated to another event. They've made some few changes, and there isn't too much here because most of it is right here. So today, October 9th, is the first part of the 6.5 year anniversary. The part 2 will be in 2 weeks from now, and there's going to be another unit and more 6.5 year anniversary promos going on in 2 weeks from now, so that's going to be great. I'm kind of looking forward to the next unit, because if you don't have any idea what the next unit's going to be, I think it's going to be quite interesting. That's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, let's see. So there's a hell of a lot to cover in this maintenance notice. First of all, new story. Not going to be covering it because I know it's story-based stuff. You can do that by yourself if you really want to. I always love doing the story. It's great. So I'll definitely be doing that by myself at some point very soon. And then we've got a new shift form of Lilebette. So it's about time that we got a new form of Lilebette. The last shift we had on her was quite a long while ago, actually. Also, I have been trying to mess around with the sound because I don't really know the best volume to make this, so just kind of guessing. But yeah, hey, so hopefully you're prepared for a long stream, because it's definitely going to be a long one. Let me just lower this a little bit. 4, not 4.2. There you go. Right, so we got Lilebette, Demongunner Lilebette, and the Demon Shot Ether Drive Ark. We'll have a look at these in a little bit after this, but they look quite interesting to me, and I think this unit's going to be a very, an incredibly good new player-friendly unit. And as I was saying over the past month or so, if you've been waiting to reroll, then now is the perfect time, because Anniversary is providing a good amount of crystals and tickets, and also this unit is a pretty good reroll target, considering, you know, she's very new player friendly. But we'll get at her kits very soon. Yeah, of course, some people are going to be excited about Dilmordo's Insight. I don't care about furries. If you do, then you do you, I guess. But I never really cared too much about Dilmordo. But when he did release, I have to say he was a pretty damn good PvP unit when he came out many years ago. I do remember that. That was fun. But yeah, I'll definitely be trying that out later today at least. So today you can get 3,000 free crystals if you do the event stage, so you just watch that cutscene and we'll skip it, and then you get some crystals. Next week, so this is important, next week we get the UR Ark trade ticket, so we don't get it today. We have to wait another week, which is alright. It's just gotta wait another week. It's not that bad, but this ticket, I will be having a look at that a bit later on as well, just to see what arcs are in there and just give some advice on that, I suppose, because it does go up to Suratron, which is Ascended Roland, which is a pretty good arc, honestly, but if you're still missing some of the important ones like Theophilus, then there's still better options, of course. And then there's a bunch of free banners going on, well, a bunch of banners going on in general, so I do want to have a look at those as well. This one's a new daily free step-up gacha, so make sure to do this. Login bonus, of course, pretty normal. Guild promo, so make sure you're in a guild before October the 15th, and then you get 300 crystals, I guess. Popularity poll. Please don't, whatever you do, do not vote for Kyle because he's boring. Okay, vote for anyone else that's not Kyle because Kyle's boring. Last time, if you remember this, it was either Kyle or Lilahar. I know the Lollyhar that we got was terrible, and it was very disappointing, but it was still better than the Shift Kyle, right? So, just vote for someone that's not Kyle, please. I mean, vote for whoever you want, but Kyle was just like the most boring unit choice. I don't have any idea of what people are going to be picking this time. I got no idea, but I just hope it's not Kyle. If it's someone that's not Kyle, I'll at least be happy. That's all I care about. I don't hate him, don't get me wrong, it's just typical boring design character. That's the thing I don't like, really. Generic character design, basically. But I'm gonna guess some people probably only picked Kyle because he was literally the first option, but I'm gonna be voting for Lily, like I always do, because I really need a new Lily shift. It has to happen eventually, like, I really need one. Okay, this new event looks pretty damn good, honestly. I have done some of this event already just to get the anniversary tickets, and it does look like a pretty good event. Definitely worth farming this one for sure, because the stages cost 4 orb, 4 energy, or whatever you want to call it, and there is a chance to get like some good materials and some rainbow potions from them, so I do think this event's going to be a pretty good one to farm if you're lacking in any of those materials, and I definitely need some rainbow potions, so I do definitely want to farm this quite a bit to try and get some more rainbow potions if possible, but I know the chance of getting them is probably going to be very small, but I'm still going to be doing some of this event anyway, because it just seems like a pretty good event overall, and there is going to be another event in 2 weeks from now, of course, but that one sounds interesting. It's like about the Great War or something, so looking forward to that one as well. And then the anniversary medal trading space, we've always had this in the anniversary events. You can get some more tickets and some good stuff from here, so make sure to get these medals. Now, here's the best thing about this, right? You know the auto farm feature? Well, make sure you use that, because that auto farm feature can also give you these anniversary medals. So today I just logged in and claimed the auto farming, you know, finished that off, and it gave me like 3,500 of these medals already instantly, just because of the auto farming. So it's quite good. It's quite easy to get these medals because of auto farming exists now, so that's great. Very nice. Other events. See, you can tell why there's so many, that there's a lot of events and stuff going on, because they don't even put the pictures on these, they just put text. And usually they would put the picture next to it, but this time there's so much in this update that they just put the text on. So other events, these are just reruns of previous events, I believe. The Tower of Trials Hard should have 5 more stages, I believe. Haven't done them yet, because obviously the maintenance and stuff only just ended today, so haven't had time to look at it yet. Unit Test Play Quest, we'll have a look at that later on as well. Summon Beast is next week, and World Raid is also going to be next week. And then a bunch of banners, so I do want to have a look at these in a bit later, but we'll just show them off anyways. Obviously got the normal banner for the new units and Ark, and then the guaranteed UR Ark, which you should never do because 10,000 paid crystals is just way too expensive, in my opinion, unless it's something that's incredibly broken like Suttanu. That's like the only one I would probably consider doing it for, but apart from that, it's just way too expensive. SSR plus guaranteed 10 spin gacha. All of these are paid crystals, by the way. Well, these ones are. That's not just the normal banner. But the step up is paid crystals, like always. This one's 10,000 paid crystals up to 2 times. I'm not going to be doing any of these because they're just too expensive still. 10,000 paid crystals, it's just a lot. So I don't really ever recommend doing these unless you're willing to spend that much and you desperately want something. That's up to you. I've never given advice on something like this because it's paid crystals, so it's up to you, but I'm not going to be doing any of these. You do get a ticket where you can select any Ark, I believe, up to the most recent one that is not the newest one, funnily enough. And then this step gacha looks a lot more interesting because something a bit different. Yeah, new summon animations. I haven't really seen them yet. I've only seen like one short video of it, but we'll find that out once we do summons a bit later on, because I do have some tickets and some stuff that we need to do, so we'll do that later. But I'm interested to see what they did with the animations and kind of worried at the same time. But we'll talk about that when it comes up in the news. I don't think I've gone past it yet. So this step up gacha seems pretty good. Reason being, you get a guaranteed Ark in every slot. It's not guaranteed to be new, but it is guaranteed to be a UR at least. So 1,500 paid crystals get 1 Ark guaranteed. Pretty nice. And the next one, 3,000 for 3 Arks. Then 4,500 for 5. And then 6,000 gives you 6 Arks. And some Stardust. And then you get 1 for free at the end. So I have considered doing this, maybe. But because I have most of the Arks already anyways, I don't think I'm going to be doing it. I think for players that don't have that many Arks, it's probably a good idea if you're willing to do it. But again, it's still random, and there is like a very tiny chance you could get the same Ark all the time and just end up getting dupes anyway. So I'll leave it up to you on that one, but it is very good if you don't have many Arks, that is. I am only missing a few of them, even though some of them I would quite like to get. I probably won't be doing this because it's paid crystals at the end of the day, and I'm not guaranteed to get anything new from it. So because it's not guaranteed to be new, and I've got most of them, I'm not going to be doing it. But like I said, if you're missing a lot, then that is when it becomes more worth it, I think. Then this one, units only 10 spin gacha, so 3,000 paid crystals. Every slot is going to be a unit guaranteed, but all permanent units and all Descent of Heroes units up to Bales are. Even though it says that, there isn't any rate up or anything, so you're not very likely to get any of those newer units. But again, this is quite a good one if you're missing a lot of the units. So if you're missing a good amount of units, then this does become worth doing, I think, even though it's paid crystals. But I've got most of them already, so I'm not going to be doing it. But players that may not have that many units, it could be a decent one. But if you're just searching for one specific unit, don't bother doing it, because you're most likely not going to get that one that you're looking for, because that chance is going to be very, very small for sure. And then preferred hero units not held, 10 spin gacha part 1. Another 3,000 paid crystals gacha. I haven't really looked at this, but there's these bunch of units in here. You can still get permanent units and stuff in here. And that is not even today, so that's next week as well, so this is next week. And then part 2 is going to be also next week. So you get not held, so yeah, that's why it can be pretty good, is because if you're missing like one specific unit that you don't have, then you can guarantee that unit. So in this case, if you're missing Spirit Maiden Sarah and you have every other unit in this banner for some reason, then you can get that unit guaranteed for 3,000 paid crystals, which would be very nice. But in most cases that's not going to happen. I mean, yeah, it's probably good in some situations, but I say have a look at it, but probably not worried about it too much. And then ticket gacha, of course, for the anniversary gacha tickets. These are the exact same rate up and everything as the new Lilebette's banner, so you do have a chance to get Lilebette or the UR Ark, even though it's going to be not very likely, but still. I wish they did this for every single Descent of Heroes unit and banner, instead of just leaving it for anniversary, because most other gacha games do it for pretty much every single unit release that they do. They at least provide you with some tickets for that current banner, right? So, but it's fine. And then the Super Descent of Heroes ticket, I really like this one, even though this is paid crystals. It's only 300 paid crystals, and you can get a Descent of Heroes unit guaranteed, and you can buy this twice. I've already bought this twice because I think it's a pretty good deal. There's a chance that you could get any Descent of Heroes units from this ticket, so I'm going to be doing it, even though you're not likely to get the new one. I'm still missing a couple of older ones, so even getting some of those would be pretty nice just for some crystals. So I think these tickets are pretty damn good because it's only 300 paid crystals just to get this one ticket to guarantee a Descent of Heroes unit. But it is still likely going to be a dupe if you've got most of them already. So now here is something quite interesting. So the Summons Yard, this is a new guild event, and this seems like it's going to be pretty fun, but I'm just slightly worried about it requiring too much time investment to be able to do this fully throughout the whole guild, right? Because I've read up on this quite a bit, so I know a decent amount of it so far, but we've still got to wait for it to come out, which is late today, I believe. And I'm definitely looking forward to doing this. I'm not going to be covering it or anything because it is a guild-focused thing. There is no leaderboard rewards. Even though there is going to be a leaderboard, there is no guild ranking rewards. So it is more of a in-guild like participation type thing where you discuss in your own guild, come up with a strategy to beat the highest difficulty of the boss that you can to get the rewards. That's pretty much how it's going to be. So there isn't really going to be much talk outside of your own guild really, because it's more of a inside guild discussion type of game mode, which I think could be pretty fun because I do kind of like these, and it's more of a PvE game mode. So it's not PvP, it is a PvE game mode inside your own guild. So I do think this type of thing could be quite fun. I just hope, because this is a beta, I just hope they make some changes to it, because what I've read up about it so far is you get 5 attacks per day, which is quite a lot of attacks, and I don't think you can even skip the battles. And that is what the main problem I think is that you have to log in every day and use your 5 attacks manually, and you can't just attack once and then skip the rest. And that's just like the main problem I have, is it's probably going to require a lot of time daily, and not everyone wants to do that. So I'm hoping they make some differences between now and the full release of this, because currently this is a beta. And if you remember with the guild battles, when that was released, when it first came out, the beta was a lot more time consuming as well, and then they changed it for the full release and they cut down the time. So I'm hoping they're going to do something similar to this, and I hope they allow you to skip battles. I really hope they allow you to skip battles in the full version, because not being able to skip battles and having 5 per day that you have to do to take part in the guild to get the rewards just kind of is a lot of time investment that not everyone's going to want to do. But I'm going to leave it there for now for this event. You can check it out by yourself in your own guilds. I think it's going to be pretty fun. This lasts for about a week, so I'm definitely going to be doing this for sure in my own guild, but I'm not going to be covering it or anything yet. Probably never, because it's more of a guild focused thing. So now here is the new Insight unit. Well, some other changes. So we've got Dilmordo, the new Insight unit, which we'll have a look at later on, and they've also added new gacha animations. there may be changes to which gacha animations are associated with which gacha results is the one thing that I'm kind of worried about. And the reason why I'm saying worried is it might ruin the whole fun of summoning, you know. But I'm hoping they've done it in a good way, where it's just kind of similar to what it was before, because I thought it was fine. But if they make it so that you get a guaranteed new news animation, so if you get the pickup unit or arc, that it's a special animation. I hope it's not really something like that, because it kind of ruins the whole what am I going to get type thing when you get the red orbs. So I'm hoping it's pretty similar to what it was before. I know basically the whole point of this is, what they've said is they just want to keep this updated to show more of the story characters, which makes sense. So, and the animations are a bit faster as well, but we'll definitely have a look at this later on once we do summons later on. So that'll be fun, hopefully, and not terrible and painful. Let's just hope so. And yeah, Dilmordo, we'll look at that later on. Not super excited because Dilmordo is whatever, I don't really care too much, but if he's good, then that could be fun, I suppose. Now, here's something that's always great to see. Updated the Descent of Heroes Festival and Crimson Ore Trading Space lineups. So, in the Descent of Heroes Festival banners now, it includes Shift Moana, Spirit Maiden Sarah, Emperor Soleil, and Ascended Roland. So, all these units can now be gotten off banner on any Descent of Heroes Festival banner. So, I do feel like that's going to be quite nice. Especially Spirit Maiden Sarah, and you can also get the paid equipments for these units too. Yeah, animations, producing guarantees, I mean, you have your preferences, I suppose. I just kind of like the more of a you don't know what you're gonna get type of animation, but having a guaranteed animation, I don't know, I think it's fine. Some people prefer that. I don't really have a preference, really, because you could just skip it anyways if you want to, so I suppose if there is a guaranteed animation it could be fine, but we'll try it later on, because I don't really know how many animations they've added and what they are exactly and how they work. We're going to have to figure that out again, because of the here's the thing that's funny. After the 6.5 years that we've been playing this game, this is the first time they've actually adjusted the animations for the gacha itself, so it's a very long time, and it was definitely something they should have done a long time ago. But at least they've done it now, eventually. At least they're trying to do stuff to change the game up to make it more updated, which I do like. And Godforge Alchemy for Archbeing Melee, Pale Flame Kyle, and Gilbert, so you can get paid equipments for, you can get Godforge for these paid equipments for these units now, which is nice. I haven't looked at them, but I'm probably quite interested to see what Gilbert's paid equipments are like, and Archbeing Melee. Nobody cares about Kyle, but I definitely want to try and remember to look at them at some point, but we'll see. And then obviously improved guild features, so obviously with this guild event they've added a guild workshop feature where you can donate guild coins and use those coins to purchase things that can give buffs to your teammates in your guild. But currently this isn't implemented. The donation feature is not implemented yet, but will be released in the future. Yeah, that one recently, where they have a chance for gold orbs and stuff to go up to red, was something that I kind of liked. Yeah, well, I'll definitely have a look at the animations later on when we get to it, because it seems like they've added a good amount of animations, which is fun. But we'll have to see. Hopefully, let's just hope that it's not bad, but it can't be that bad. So here is another big section of this news. Is there are a bunch of skill rebalancings, and they've also adjusted some Ark skills and some skills in general as well. So I won't list every single skill because we'll be here all day if we do that. But reduced by 2 SC. The SC cost reductions are always nice to see because it can allow you to fit in more skills, so I do like that. And the giant killing skills, I do like using these quite a lot in PvE content. They're quite nice because they give you damage and damage cap for your physical damage dealers, so the fact that they're getting reduced by 1 each is going to help because I do like using them, both of them. Giant killing 2 and 3 are pretty nice skills, at least I like using them anyways. Giant purge 2 as well. Anti-type breakthrough reduced by 2. So you'll see a pattern here that they've reduced the SC cost and adjusted things that boost your damage cap. So most of these skills and effects that boost damage cap they've adjusted, which is nice. And all of these castable skills like high drain, which I do put on some units, is now 5 SC instead of 7, so that's pretty nice. Aragami Mitama was a skill from Susanoo which gives damage cap, and they've reduced that by 1, and I have been using that too, so it is nice to see that getting reduced. And then skill adjustment, so all of these skills here, a bunch of these skills have increased damage cap, which is very nice to see. So all of the attack race 4 skills has now been increased by 2000 damage cap, and the Giga Drive skills have also been increased by 2000 damage cap, and obviously Infinity Giga Drive and the Giga Boost skills also 2000, and Elemental and the Breakthrough skills have been increased by 500 and 1000 when single wielding. Driven with Heart and Soul, slightly more damage cap. Fire Enhance, more damage. Holy Enhance, 10% more light damage, pretty nice. Accomplices is now 2000 damage cap. I do like using that one too, so it's definitely nice to see that get increased. So with these increases to various skills, you're definitely going to notice a slight difference in some of your units that you've been using that already exist, like Callan and any more recent damage dealer, I suppose, are going to have some of these skills. So those units that were already top tier are going to have slightly more damage cap. It's not going to be a massive difference, but it is still something. And also when you're giving them learnable skills as well, like accomplices and stuff like that give more damage cap, you can give them more damage cap now, so that's pretty nice. And here is also a very interesting one. They've rebalanced some Ark skills and also, you know, damage and damage cap buffs. So all of these Ark skills have now gotten increased damage cap for their Ark skill, the ones that do damage. So Eldravana now has more damage cap. I'm not going to list every single one because there's quite a lot of them here, but all of these got more damage cap for their damaging Ark traits, which is nice. But I never really cared about these too much, because the most important thing is this right here. So this list is very good. I do like this list. So Lilebette now increases, this is all Ark skills by the way, Lilebette now increases magic damage cap to your entire team by 20,000 instead of 10,000, so that's quite a big increase. So Lilebette's Ark skill at level 10 is going to be 20,000 instead of 10,000, and this is a buff to your entire team, so I do think this one's a nice one for sure. Now magic isn't really used too much in PvE content, but it still is a pretty nice change. And Cloud God Murder You this, more damage cap for this one by 15,000, quite nice. 3 Emperors is now double the effect that it was before, so 10,000 skill magic special damage cap to all allies could be quite nice. The main thing is though, and the one thing that you might realise or notice, is Susanoo is not on this list, and Susanoo is better than everything else on this list. So The funny thing is, Susanoo is still going to be the best Ark trait in the Ark skill in the game for damage cap, because it gives 75,000 damage cap. So Susanoo's still going to be the best one, but it is still nice to see some buffs from these. And Susanoo gives skill damage cap, so the other buffs like 3 Emperors give skill damage cap, it won't stack with it. Summon Spirits gets quite a big increase now. It's 10,000 damage cap taken debuffs instead of 3,000. That's like a massive increase for Summon Spirits, so this one definitely a good one, because this is all elemental, all attribute damage cap taken, so this will apply to all of your damage. And I do like Summon Spirits in general, it's a pretty nice one. I should really level up more Ark skills, but I do need more UR Stardust. It's going to take a long time to get them, but that is quite a nice buff to that. And then Lillehammer, it is a big buff to Lillehammer, but it was never really that great to begin with, because it's only for the next magic attack that's used, so it's not like a permanent buff or anything, or a buff that lasts like 40 seconds, it's only for the next magic attack that you use. But it could be pretty funny to use this now, because it gives 300,000 damage cap for the next magic attack, so it could be pretty funny to use this for on your Shiflenius. Could be hilarious to put it on him for the next magic attack to have that insane damage cap, but it's only the next magic attack. Like, yes, you could use it for like nuking stages and stuff, but it's never really been that great of an Ark skill, honestly. And then Demon Lord Kamanog got more damage cap as well, and some damage as well, so more skill damage and damage cap, and more damage cap if you're single building, but still not going to be as good as Susanoo for sure. And then Soul Blade also gets 20,000 damage cap increase against bosses under this unit, but still pretty nice. So I do really like these buffs. They didn't have to do this, but it is nice to see this change, because you may already have some of these at level 10, and that's great because they're now going to be even better than they were before. So if you were using any of these, they're going to be slightly better, and in some cases just a lot better, like Summon Spirits. More than doubled this. Or basically tripled, pretty much. More than tripled. So yeah, it is quite a good increase on these Ark skills, I do like that. Then some other improvements. So Training Field Nightmare difficulty can now be skippable. Guild Hunt battles can now be skippable, so make sure to do this. Guild Hunt battles, they can now be skippable. So make sure you do this daily, because all you got to do is just get your high score. Now you can skip that daily, get some free rewards, great. So I was never doing this, honestly. I just never seemed like I wanted to invest my time in it. It wasn't worth the time. But now you can skip them. Definitely going to be worth pressing that button just to skip it instantly. So that's pretty nice. Improved comeback promotions and starter dash promotions as well. Renewed the trade ticket and stuff lineup. That's going to be nice. I'm wondering what they go up to now. Maybe Ascended Roll, and that would be pretty good. And there is a new paid SSR Ark. I did put this on my list, so I will be covering this later after we talk about the new banner. The new banner and the paid agreement stuff. We'll talk about this later on to have a look at the learnable skills and if they're any good. I don't think it's anything super crazy, but I will have a look at this later on. It's another paid Ark, but we don't get them that often. And then there's a bunch of packs in the shop. So the best one, my favourite one, is definitely this one, the Super Descent Heroes ticket for 300 paid crystals. This one's great. That was free. That was nice because you get a Hyper Primal whatever Prismal Crystone for 300 paid crystals. I should probably get that one, honestly, because you can get a unit instantly to level 120 for 300 paid crystals. That one's pretty good. And then this one, these are only packs if you're willing to spend and willing to get paid crystals, right? But they are pretty good value for what you're spending, at least in this game. 3,000 paid crystals for 15 God Relic Prisms. This is a very good deal if you care about maxing your units and if you spend a bit in this game. I got this myself because this just seems like a good deal, in my opinion, for God Relic Prisms, because this can allow you to instantly get a unit to plus 30, so I do like that. And then credential ticket, temple ticket. You can also get a temple ticket in there. Another temple ticket for 1,500. Yeah, they're usually quite expensive, and this is why, because these are like anniversary bundles, so they're like special bundles. Some of them are good, like this one, Hero Set, and this Christstone and Goldrake Prism. You know, some of these are pretty good deals, but the other ones, like this one for 9,600 paid crystals, I don't really consider that to be worth it. But you do get 5 Goldrake Prisms and some other stuff, but I wouldn't buy every single one unless you're a super whale. I only bought the more cheaper ones and ones that are going to be worth it, like these ones. For 300 paid crystals is pretty good. And this one, like I've mentioned many times already, but it's very good. And the fact is, this one is 1,500 paid crystals to get a temple ticket. So maybe that could be good, and you also get a God Relic Prism as well. So I already bought this one as well, because this one's pretty nice. Gives you God Relic Prism and a temple ticket for 1,500. It's not bad. And this one gives you, I mean, it's decent, but yeah, most of these packs are pretty good. Some of them are better than others, like half of them are pretty damn good, but the more expensive ones you can definitely ignore, like this one's too expensive. It does provide a good amount of stuff, but I would never get that one really, unless you're a super whale. It's up to you, but I wouldn't. So that is now until the 5th of November. Some pretty nice stuff in there. It's up to you if you want to get them, but some of them are pretty good deals. Shop updates and skins. So it took us a very long time, like about half an hour, but that is everything in the anniversary and in this update. So yes, there is quite a lot of stuff in this update, and we kind of expected that because this is an anniversary at the end of the day, and they always save their biggest updates for the anniversaries. They always do that in this game, and the past 2 updates with Eber and crappy Balins, those 2 updates were very small, didn't have much to them, but this update is definitely like a million times better than those past 2 updates. Definitely a lot more interesting, a lot more stuff to do, so they were definitely saving a lot of the updates for this anniversary, which you can definitely tell for sure. So that is everything in this update. Definitely took a long time, but I just wanted to make sure that I covered everything so everyone was aware of what was in this update today. And now we can start having a look at the banners and the new units and the Ark as well. So let's start having a look at those. So we have Demongunner Lilebette and the new Demon Shot Ether Drive Ark. I'll have a look at those in a moment. Let's just have a brief look at the current banners that are going on. Obviously got the normal banners. Eber, honestly, I haven't heard of a single person that's really talked about Eber at all. Like, no one's really been using her because she's just kind of a bit outdated, and you know, we've got better existing units already, and she's just a damage dealer. So you can ignore this unit completely. This banner, don't really need to pull this banner. Got a beach summon animation, and got the Ark and the unit. That's crazy. So from what I'm hearing, the beach animation seems to be like the good animation then. That's what I'm hearing so far. Yeah, I used to do the same thing. I used to whale a lot. I mean, it still looks like I do because I have a lot of paid crystals right now, but ignore that. I spend a lot less than I used to, okay? If you remember, I had an account before this one, and that was like when I first started this game, when the game just released. So I've been playing for basically 6.5 years on this game now, because I had an account before this one, but that was like my super whale account that I decided to focus more on PvP, but I got very tired of doing that, so I decided to tone it back a bit, not chase the meta all the time, and just enjoy it a bit more. And you can definitely enjoy the game and have a lot more fun with this game if you don't worry about meta and pulling every single thing all the time, because you'll notice that pretty much every single Ark has some use to them, and that is the main thing about this game, is pretty much every single Ark's going to have some use. So you don't chase for every single thing, just look for things that are more important, is probably what I would recommend, and I have been doing that. yeah, we'll look at the animations later on. We'll do a decent amount of summons. We'll see, but I don't think I'm gonna do this. I just want to have a look. So it's got every single UR Ark in here. I'm missing some of these. I don't think I'm gonna do this. There's only one lap, isn't there? I think so. Only one lap for 5 steps. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Well, we did read about these earlier. I'm just double checking, I suppose. And there is a trade ticket which can go up to the more recent one from the Crafty Balance banner. I would like these, but I'm not gonna pity or anything. I'm still missing some of these older ones, but you can tell I got most of them already, so probably not gonna be summoning on most of those yet. And then obviously ticket banner, and this is going to be very nice. Yeah, the UR ticket next week for sure. Going to be looking at that. This has every single Descent of Heroes unit in it. I'm still missing some of these older ones. Yeah, I think a beach animation just means guaranteed red. That's what I've come to the conclusion of so far. It sounds like it's just going to be red. And so far it doesn't sound like there's an animation that guarantees you something new. So we'll see. Right, now let's have a look at the new unit and the Ark. So Demongunner Lilebette. It's been a while since we've had a ship Lilebette, but Lilebette is always been a... I kind of like this character in the story. She's, you know, more of an interesting character, I suppose. So seeing a shift for this unit is quite nice. She is a soldier earth type unit, high amount of strength. Stats in general look pretty nice. Attribute resistance is plus 20 to dark, plus 30 to thunder, and 10 to earth, minus 20 to fire. Makes sense because she is an earth damage dealer. Element resistance is resistance to stun and nil to curse is very nice on a damage dealer for sure. Yeah, 50 credential paid on this unit definitely sucks, and we'll look at that once we get to it after this. But yeah, I don't like 50 paid credential equipments. I never get them anymore unless they're like super game breaking ridiculous. But even so, I skipped Balezar's paid equipment because 50 credentials is just way too expensive for me, and for like most players it's not worth doing because it's just too expensive. I prefer the 25 ones. So her skills, I made some notes on the hit counts on this one. So skill 1 is a medium area earth combo attack, so very basic. This one's 8 hits, looks okay. Nothing much to really say about this one. 8 hits on a skill 1's pretty much average, so it's fine, I suppose. Can't really say anything else about skill 1, other than we'll try it out later in the unit test play quest to see how good her skills really are. And then her skill 2 is a long range earth attack, and then it's followed by a close the gap medium area earth combo attack. So this one's long range, and then it closes the gap afterwards. This one is 16 hits for a skill 2. Okay, looks decent, but I still think her best skill is going to be her skill 3 for maximum DPS. This one is probably going to be the one that you're going to want to spam the most. And that is usually the case when it comes to physical damage dealers, is usually their skill 3 ends up being the best one, because it's more difficult to get your skill 3 back, and it usually has the most hit counts, you know. So medium area earth combo attack. You know what's funny? Is the fact that the skill 1 and skill 3 say the same thing, but it's not the same thing, you know. I wish there was like a bit more information. Like, I know very basic, but it would also be nice if they were to add like the amount of hits on the skill description. Like if they had medium area 8 hit combo attack, like on the skill 1 for instance, if they added that, I feel like that would be a good addition, you know. Something like that would be nice. Yeah, more detail, but I know they kind of want to be a more classic RPG that makes you want to discover things more yourself and try things out. I get that, but just saying a medium area Earth combo attack doesn't really give you any information at all, you know. But yeah, this skill 3 is 20 hits. It's definitely her fastest skill, at least what I've seen so far. So you're definitely going to want to spam this. I wish it was a bit higher on the hit count side, because 20 isn't that much. It's only 4 more hits than her skill 2. But it still looks pretty decent. It's decently fast, but I don't think it's going to be anything super crazy like Joshua's skills, because his skills are stupidly fast. Yeah, an optional detail button would be very nice. They could add a lot of stuff in this game, honestly, but the changes that they've had made are quite nice. But yeah, having some more description on these would be great. And then her special is a powerful Earth combo attack to all enemies, so yeah, all enemies. I do like seeing a special that targets all enemies, very nice. And this one is 48 hits, so I wish it was higher hit counts on her special, and her skills in general, but it's not too bad really. They're fine. That's really all I have to say about that. It depends on the animations, and we'll try them out later on, I suppose. But so far they look pretty decent, but nothing super game breaking. I think her skill 3 could be pretty good, but comparing her to like Callan and Joshua, I don't think she's going to be as good at all, but I still think she's going to be quite a good newer player-friendly unit because of the rest of her kit, which we'll have a look at in a moment. So her traits are always where it gets a lot more interesting. So trait 1, when equipped with only one weapon, so she's going to be a single wheel damage dealer. Earth damage increased by 30%, damage cap 80,000, and Earth skill and special attribute weakness damage cap 50,000. So more weakness damage cap. Yeah, there's not many Earth damage dealers. It's not a big deal though, because you can just use Trishula instead in most cases. Like on Callan, you can just use Trishula and it's just fine, you know. But you'll find that Lilebette actually already has Trishula in her kit already, which is funny, hilarious. But you'll see that towards the end. But yeah, she's going to be quite nice if you're missing an Earth damage dealer and kind of looking for something like that. Then I think she could be pretty nice. When skill and special attacking and enemy Earth resistance is at least 0, then cut the resistance by 15 and deal damage. So the main reason this can be useful, when this can be useful, is let's say the enemy has 10 Earth resistance, right? If the enemy has 10 Earth resistance, then it's going to reduce it by 15. So that'll treat it as the enemy being at -5 Earth resistance in that case. So I think in that scenario it could be pretty useful, because it can allow you to hit weakness a lot easier. So you can use weak plus circle to reduce by 40, and if they have 10 resistance left after, then you can still reduce it by 15 more just from using your skills. It's not a debuff, but it's going to treat it as the enemy would be weak, so I think it's going to be quite nice. Going to be quite useful, I think. So pretty decent trait 1, mostly damage cap. That's some damage and cut resistance, so it could be nice. Yeah, not always having to rely on Trishula is quite nice. Like Joshua already has basically half of a Trishula in his kit already. I do like those types of units. Yeah, definitely a newer player-friendly unit. Trait 2, Battle Start. I do like her trait 2 the most. It's quite a good trait. At the start of the battle, restore 1 SCT stock for all of her skills. So skill 1, 2, and 3 is going to get a skill stock at the start of the battle. So every single wave, you're going to get a skill stock for all of your skills. It's going to be very nice. It allows you to use skill 1, 2, and 3. Giving some SCT regen on a unit is always going to be very useful, so I do like that. And here's the probably one of the most interesting things about this unit, is on a boss wave. So when you're on a boss wave, when first using a skill on a boss wave, give this unit an ether link buff for 10 seconds. So what does this buff do? Well, it's quite interesting. When this buff is active, using a skill won't cut the skill stock, and you also won't flinch from physical and magic attacks. The main downside being this is only for 10 seconds, and she doesn't really have any other ways to reapply this buff apart from the Etherlink skill right here. But she can't passively gain it again. The only way you can get this back is from casting it. but it is still a very nice buff because you can just continuously keep spamming your skills for 10 seconds and it's not going to reduce your SCT. You can just keep spamming non-stop for 10 seconds, so you can have infinite skill 3 spam for 10 seconds. It's going to be quite nice, especially for newer players that won't have access or don't have access to the SCT regen skills. This is going to be an amazing thing to have on a unit for sure, especially if you're just starting off. She's going to be able to, you know, get her SCT quite quickly, and you don't really have to worry too much about SCT, especially if we're using her in story stages, so I do consider this to be quite useful. And just makes the unit very easy to use in general, because you don't really have to worry about her SCT too much in just general story stages. So in just clearing normal story stages or Tower of Trials or something, you can just shove her in the team and not worry about it too much, and she should be able to clear it no problem. At least in the more easier content. Of course, when it gets to the end game, it's a lot different, but for the more newer players that's starting out, I consider this to be quite useful. Definitely very useful for sure. So now let's go over to her passive skills. Of course, she's got the Etherlink magic spell. She can cast Etherlink for herself, and you can't reuse it for another 40 seconds. Kind of similar to like Demon Play Alice that has her own type of skills like this. Not exactly the same, but they cost 200 MP, and you can only cast them again after 40 seconds, so it's kind of similar like that. But it is pretty nice. You have 10 seconds on a boss wave of not using SCT, and then you cast this, and then you've got another 10 seconds of no SCT being used, and then you've got to wait another 30 seconds to be able to use this again. So you have 30 seconds of downtime where you don't have infinite SCT, but there are other ways around it, I suppose. Yeah, basically an alternate version. Kinda. I mean, the biggest downside is you won't have any SCT when you don't have this buff active, so there will be 30 seconds of downtime where you might not have any SCT. So you still are going to want some SCT unit in the team if you're in a battle that's going to take a long time. So that's why I think in end game content like Battleground Simulator, she's probably not going to be as useful, because in that content you can just use someone like Lena with Honey Elixir and use it on Joshua or Cannon. They're probably still the best for endgame content, but Lilebette definitely seems more newer player friendly so far, because this not using SCT and not worrying about SCT is going to be very nice. What's better, the unit or the Ark? Well, it really depends. I haven't gone through both of the kits yet, so I can't really come to a conclusion yet, but at least what I've seen so far, this unit is more for newer players. But the UR Ark is definitely going to be quite useful, but I haven't really looked at it too much yet, so I can't really say. So now let's look at what passive skills she has. Attack up max, Fighting Spirit up 4, Fighting Spirit max. All stat up. We don't see this very often, but it's quite nice. 15% for all of your stats. Even HP. It's pretty good. She should have a lot of strength, which is very useful for PvE content in general, so she should be able to hit damage cap quite easily. I would expect so, at least. Anti-type boost. She doesn't have any slayers here yet, but of course she's definitely going to have some further down. Auto EX Brave is definitely nice to see for sure on newer units. High protection. Auto Grand Haste is a new haste effect, so this is the first time we've seen Grand Haste. It's been a very long time coming, but it's finally here. We've got Grand Haste on a new unit, so you're probably going to start seeing Auto Grand Haste on newer units now. It's going to become more common on newer units, I think. Same thing with Auto EX Brave. We've seen this for a while now, but it's going to become more common. Pride 2. I hope this gets learnable in the future. That would be quite nice. Earth High Drive and Mega Drive. Attack Raise 5. Stone Enhance, quite nice. Earth Weak Point Breakthrough. More damage cap when hitting. Weakness with Earth, so 10,000 more damage cap. Because she is going to be single wield all the time. So it definitely seems like they want you to hit weakness with this unit, if possible, because she does have a decent amount of skills tied to hitting weakness. like her trait 1, she's got 50,000 damage cap when hitting weakness. And then you've also got, of course, 10,000 more damage cap here. And then you've got this one, 30% more physical damage when hitting weakness. And then this one, 10,000 more damage cap when hitting anti-type or attribute weakness. And I believe they do stack. So when you have anti-type and weakness, 20,000, gonna be quite nice. Pose of Victory, Bless Speed. Favoured Sword Form 2. Now, this one actually stacks with Favoured Sword, if you didn't know. Pretty sure it does, because it's a different skill, so it will stack. And that's the one thing I like. If you have Favoured Swords, then definitely make sure to put it on the unit, because even more damage cap. Very nice. Two-handed machine boost. So, originally, I thought this unit was going to be a single-wield sword unit, because this looks like a sword to me. Doesn't this look like a sword and not a machine? It looks like a sword. But apparently, it's a machine for some random reason. It's almost as bad as Lebrette's sacrificial dagger being considered a staff. Like, it's almost as bad as that. Like, why is it a machine when it is clearly a sword? I mean, I'm not going to question it. I am questioning it, but it's just a bit strange. Because I kind of expected it to be a sword. The main reason why it's kind of bad is because we don't have as many machine options as sword options. Yeah, she looks like a sword unit. And also, Lilebette has had a track record for being a bow unit as well. But where's the bows? They're gone. And she's also been a machine unit in the past as well. So whatever. I'm just saying, it's a bit weird that she's a machine type unit, even though this is clearly a sword and not machine. But just saying, there aren't really any good Earth machine weapons. There is one free-to-play Earth machine, but you have to beat one of the story bosses to get it, which not everyone's going to be able to do as soon as they start the game. So, Cloud God Murder Uvis boss, I believe. Unless it was the Ark. No, I don't actually have it, so it is a story weapon. Yeah. So, more damage and damage cap. The piercing is quite nice. That's definitely going to be very good against bosses for sure. Has a built-in flashlight. I mean, to me it looks like an eye, but sure, why not? Cloves Giga Boost. Armor HP plus 3, Special Shield 2, Giant Killing 5, Giant Shield 2. So, she definitely looks like to be a PvE damage dealer for sure. Yes, she's going to be good. A lot better than the more recent units like Ebba and crappy Baland. That's kind of what I call her now, but he was that bad. But yeah, she's going to be quite strong, but mostly for newer players. If you already have Callan or Joshua, then you don't need this unit. But if you're missing both of those, then I do feel like this form of Lilebette is going to be quite useful, I think. And for newer players, so I think she's going to be quite nice. But let's continue with her learnable skills, or what her passive skills are. Beast Alliance. I know why she has this, because she's like a Beast type Alliance, whatever, unit, right? She's from the Beast Alliance. But this skill in general is just never a good skill. It's never good. So it's kind of a useless skill if you don't put this on your other units as well, which you never really use. Yeah, I've been trying to skip a couple more banners. And I skipped Baland, I skipped Ebba because they weren't that great, honestly. I got Baland from a single daily pull, which I was kind of mad about, but then I realised it's going to give me 1,000 free crystals, and I also got another 1,000 free crystals from the ranking event, so that's still nice. So these are her new passive skills right here. Completely new for this unit. So at the start of the battle, add 30% of intelligence to strength, and when close to death, very greatly restore HP and give this unit a strength and defense 100% buff once per wave. So that's quite nice. Strength and defense buff once per wave. I suppose it's less useful in PvE. I mean, it's still pretty useful, but yeah, it can allow the unit to survive, and it gives you the strength and defense buff, so it's quite nice. Yeah, I usually do the lap as well. I didn't for Ebba because that banner just seemed very bad for me, at least for me. Penetrator. Okay, I'm not going to question the name of that skill, but okay. Sure. When skill attacking, nullify enemy evasion. So, no evasion effects nullified completely. Chance for the special to deal critical damage and 50% more special damage. Okay. It's an alright skill, I suppose, the main thing being nullify enemy evasion effects, but does that really matter in PvE? I don't think so. Chance for special to deal critical damage and more special damage, I suppose, is nice, considering her special is a special that hits all enemies, so yeah. And this one, continuous grand regeneration and advanced magic circles effect to this unit. Here's one that's quite nice, that everyone likes. At the start of the boss wave, fill the special gauge by 100%. Just like Ascended Roland, you get your special gauge on a boss wave by 100% instantly. Very nice. And a good thing about this is if the boss wave ends up having a bunch of enemies, you're going to get your special instantly, and you can just clear out all those enemies, hopefully. So I do think that could be quite nice. She's definitely got a lot of newer player-friendly stuff in her kit so far. It's very nice. And the last one is obviously her Slayer. Give physical attacks and special and anti-god type and brute type effect, and more damage cap against those types. Pretty good. And it is nice that she has god type Slayer, because there are a lot of story bosses that god types, so pretty nice one. She does have a good amount of damage cap that's more situational, like this damage cap you have to hit against those specific enemies, and then she's also got damage cap that's, you know, hitting weakness as well, so you're probably missing out on quite a lot of damage cap if you're not hitting weakness and not hitting these types of enemies. That's like the main problem, but she can definitely still work outside of that, for sure. Like, it's not a massive deal, but I'm just mostly thinking about endgame content at the moment, and trying to reach this unit's maximum potential is going to be a bit more difficult. So her 6th enhanced skills, looking forward to this one. Brace yourself for this one if you haven't seen it. It's going to be nuts, it's going to be crazy. So take less damage by 15%, machine mastery, so you get 15,000 more damage cap and 20% more damage, quite nice. Clothes mastery as well. Stone weapons, so make sure you have a earth machine if you have one, and that's a big if, because not everyone's going to have an earth machine weapon on their accounts. There is one earth machine that is in the story that's pretty good that I'm going to be using if I were to get the units. It gives you 15% more physical damage, so that one's a pretty nice one. But yeah, make sure to have an earth weapon if possible. 15,000 more damage cap, so you would be missing out on a good amount of damage cap. Yeah, pretty limited on weapon choices. Anti-type boosts more damage and damage cap to anti-type effects, and when hitting weakness with earth you get 10,000 more damage cap, so even more damage cap locked to hitting weakness. Okay. Yeah, that one, there's probably a couple from collabs, but I don't have all of those. And then the final one here is the best skill for newer players and just a very quality of life skill. This skill should just be called Trishula, because that's exactly what it is. When skill / special attacking, or when skill and special damage is cut by resistance, ignore the resistance and deal damage, and sword or machine weapon. Why does it say sword or machine? Because you're not going to want to use a sword, you stupid idiot. You're going to want to use a machine, you dumb Adis. Why even put sword there? Yeah, but like, you're never going to want to use a sword ever, because she's got so much locked to using a machine that you're losing a hell of a lot if you're using a sword. So what's the point of using a sword? Just use a machine. If you're using any crappy machine, it's going to be better than your best sword. Like, the best sword in the game is still going to be worse than the crappy sword, crappy machine, I mean, because of the amount of machine boost that you get in the kit. So, but yeah, more strength for your equipped weapon and the main effect of this is ignoring resistance on your skills and your special. Yeah, it's very good skill. I just think it's weird. Why does it include a sword? And why is this a sword? And then she has a bunch of machine boosts. It's a bit weird, but I'm going to stop questioning things now, I suppose. So her kit is definitely quite good for a damage dealer. She does have quite a bit of more situational effects, like hitting weakness. She has a lot of damage caps locked to hitting weakness. And she does have some damage caps locked to hitting anti-type as well. But she can work outside of that too. So you don't even need to give her Trishula, because she already has Trishula in a kit from this skill, and it even applies to her special as well. So it's quite nice. She is definitely a perfect unit for newer players, or players that may not have Callan or Joshua. She's going to be quite useful, because she has the Ether Length buff, very good SET regen from this, and she gets 1 SET stock for all of her skills at the start of battle. So very nice SET regen there, just very new player friendly right there. And she's also got a Trishula in her kit already, so you don't even need to use Trishula. So I do consider her to be definitely the best unit right now for new players. You can just equip any machine you want and use her in any content, and she's going to work. So if you just start the game, you pull this unit, you can easily clear out the entire story pretty much if you get this unit. So I do feel like she's going to be quite good for newer players. Now for endgame content is quite a bit different, because when you're looking at endgame, what you're looking for is how much DPS can this unit do, right? And that's mostly like Battleground Simulator and you know, raid bosses, stuff like that. You're looking for the fastest DPS possible, and I don't think she's providing that on the same level as Callan and Joshua, because those two units are still the best damage dealers in the game for just DPS, right? For the fastest DPS, those two units are still the best ones. I don't think Lilebette's going to be able to compete with those two units, but if you're reaching her maximum potential by hitting weakness and hitting those specific enemies with Slayers anti-type effects, then she should be pretty good, more similar to Ascended Roland. So I feel like she's more on the she might be better than Ascended Roland, I don't know, because Ascended Roland still has the 100% crit rate and Icy Guardian type shenanigans he has, so he's still pretty damn useful and has pretty damn good DPS in general. So I would consider Lilebette's DPS to be more on the Ascended Roland side. So I feel like she's going to be quite a decent damage dealer, but not the best. The main benefit you get from this unit is just a very easy to use unit. And if you look at all of the previous anniversaries, like every single anniversary that we've had in the past, you have had one very free-to-play or a newer player-friendly PvE unit like every single anniversary. Think about it. Last anniversary we have Ascended Roland. He was quite good for newer players, very newer player-friendly. He was very good for PvE as well, but still a very strong PvE-focused unit for newer players. And let me just list a couple of others, like Adele, and if my memory would work, I would remember a few others, but there's definitely a lot of anniversary units that have been newer player friendly for anniversary for PvE content. So it's always been a thing for anniversaries, right? And she's definitely the best one so far, for sure. So, oh yeah, we also had Pale Flame Kyle. He was also an anniversary unit that was also newer player friendly, I believe. So yeah, she is definitely the best one we've had so far for ease of use. You can just put any machine on this unit and just chuck her in any team you want. She's going to work, I believe, and you don't even need to worry about her SCT too much. You can just clear story stages quite easily without much help. So I do consider her to be more of a unit for newer players, and for endgame I don't think she's going to be as good if you already have existing best options like Callan and Sholtier and Joshua I missed Shaltir earlier, but I remember eventually. But those 3 units are still the best units for raw DPS for endgame, and I don't think Lilebette is going to be able to compete with those 3 units. But she's still going to be very good, for sure, and you can just use her anywhere. So she's probably going to be useful in multiplayer for like those Histomia stages. I would expect her to be pretty good against those, I would think, as long as she has enough damage mitigation, which she might. So she might be good against those. So yeah, Machine is actually a very good weapon for PvE in general because of the piercing. So I do like Machine boosts. They're like one of my favorites for PvE content in general. I'll just show you quickly what machine I'm talking about, and then we'll have a look at the Ark next. So let me just go to Lilebette, that's not the current new one, and if I go to machines, there is one good Earth machine right here. This one is from the story, but you do have to beat one of the story bosses from this, so you don't get it when you just start. You have to get this one from the story eventually. So it's going to take you some time to get this one, but this is the best, probably the best free-to-play accessible one you can get right now for an Earth machine, because there's like hardly any other options. If you look at Earth machines, there's 2, and the other one's just terrible. So yeah, this one's definitely the best one for, you know, free-to-play players. I think I would consider using this one. And if you don't have an Earth one, then just use any machine really that you have. There aren't that many machines compared to swords, but just use any machine. Any machine that you got. Even this bow, even though it doesn't have a good trait, is Earth, and it does allow the unit Lilebette to take advantage of the Earth boost skill that she has, so it's still going to be nice to use that. So now let's have a look at the UR Ark. This one, I haven't really looked at this too much, but I think this one's going to be pretty damn good. Yeah, Veldis, that one's a great one, of course. Always going to be a very good one. For sure. So, attack damage, 40% and damage cap, 5000 to the same attribute as the equipped weapon. This effect by itself is already very good. You can use this on a dual wield damage dealer, and I wonder how that would work. How would it work on a dual wield damage dealer? If you use 2 weapons for different elements, it should give you that for both the weapons. And if you're using the 2 of the same elements, it's not going to double it, because that would be stupid. It's probably only going to apply to it once, but I'm just thinking about it. So when a sword or machine is equipped, physical damage cap is increased by 5000 more. So this trait in general already just seems like a very good trait, because you're getting attack damage and damage cap to the same attribute as equipped weapon, and more physical damage cap if you have a sword or a weapon. So you can use these on dual wield damage dealers, on pretty much any damage dealer really, because the attack damage part of the trait can be any weapon you want. So even on a mage you can use it for the attack damage 40%. You can use it on a mage if you want, and that is what makes it pretty good in my opinion, is the 40% attribute damage for the same attribute as the equipped weapon. I think it's going to be very strong. Obviously the downside is non-attribute isn't going to work with this, so you can't use your, you know, Muramasa sword really with this. You have to use an attribute weapon that matches the unit, but it's not a big deal. It's still pretty good. Yeah, this account wasn't around when I did Sonic, so I never really remember anything, but I think, yeah, that one, I believe that one did have a Earth machine. That one was decent. It was like a spanner or whatever. I remember that. So when using a skill 3, restore skill 3's SCT by 20% of 1 stock. This one's interesting, but it's not going to be... I just actually thought about something. The reason why I stopped to think about this is Lilebette can spam her skill 3, right? So this will continuously restore SCT stock for a skill through as long as spamming it, and she won't be using her stocks. So I feel like this is going to be a very good synergy with the new Lilebette, because she doesn't use skill stocks for 10 seconds. So you're basically guaranteed to get 20% of your SCT back, which you're not even using it, so you're gaining 20 seconds of SCT when using her skill free. So if that's how that works, then I feel like it could be pretty insane on that unit. Could be quite nice. But in general use, it's probably not going to be that much of a big deal, really. And when taking lethal damage, very great restore HP once per wave is okay. Still pretty nice to have, I suppose, on a trait. So I do really like this trait. It's nothing crazy, right? But I still consider it to be quite a nice one, because you can use it on most units. The attack damage for the same attribute as equipped weapon is just going to be usable on basically any unit in the game, apart from non-attribute units. So I do consider this trait to be quite nice. And it is going to be a very good one for the new Lilebette. That's probably going to be the best in-slot arc for Lilebette, for sure. Not including Icy Guardian and Susanu, those types of arcs. But this one, just for general use, is going to be very easy to use, because the SCT regen and stuff on Lilebette is going to be amazing, so it's going to be nice. If you get both, of course, it's going to be a very nice synergy, but not necessary at all. And then the learnable skills, always the most exciting part. So, this one's completely new. Skill damage plus 20% to enemies that are using a skill or countering. And this one is 3 SC, by the way. This one's pretty damn nice, and this is a completely new skill for this arc, for 3 SC. Now this is a PvP focused skill, which is weird considering that this whole unit is basically just PvE content related, right? But it is still, it's going to be quite a good unit for PvP for sure. And it's going to help against Fairy King, because he counters for sure. He counters, so it's going to help against him, and enemies that have flinch resistance, I suppose, could be nice against those too. So, going to be nice. 2-handed machine boost, nice one, I suppose. Of course, for the new Lilebette, of course. Sharp Eyes, nothing crazy because we've seen it before on older SSR Ark, so it doesn't matter. Mortal Terror is another completely new skill. When equipped with only one weapon, physical damage 30% and damage cap 15,000 enemies that are close to death. This one, again, I think this one's going to be for PvP, because you're getting 30% more physical damage to enemies that are close to death. For PvP, 6 SC, could be pretty strong. Maybe. Now, for PvE content, yes, you're getting some damage cap, but it's only when they're close to death. Now, would I use it in, like, Battleground Simulator? I'm not sure, because I think when close to death means, like, 30% or below. I think, I'm just guessing. I don't really know the exact number, but I believe it's something around there. Is it worth the 6 SC for that? For dual-wield units, maybe, possibly, but you might be better off using something that's active all the time. But it's still a pretty good skill, I'll be honest. It's still a pretty decent skill for 6 SC. It's pretty nice. And Earth Giga Drive. I think this is the first time we're seeing a Giga Drive skill on a Ark as a learnable skill. 16 SC is just very expensive though. It's like way too expensive. And a lot. And Divinity Slayer. 20 SC. 20 SC. You're only ever going to be using this on a plus 30 units for PvE content, maybe PvP potentially, but you're only ever going to be using this on a plus 30 unit, because the free skill slot of plus 30 goes up to 20 SC, so that's probably the only time you're going to be using this, because 20 SC is very expensive. But it is nice to see this learnable, I suppose, but you're never really going to be using it in most situations. I would mostly ignore this because it's just too expensive for a skill, and I would only ever consider using it on a plus 30 unit for the final free skill slot skill. So that's probably the only time I'll use that, maybe. So I think these learnable skills are pretty good, because you got Umbral. I feel like I'm supposed to say Umbral Death, but Dearth. Duh. If that's a typo, I think that'll be hilarious, but I don't know. This skill's pretty nice, and Mortal Terror's pretty nice. Earth Giga Drive also pretty nice, but it's more expensive, so I think Mortal Terror and this Umbral skill are going to be the best learnable skills on this one for sure, mostly for PvP. But in general, learnable skills are quite solid, but nothing super crazy, I think. And this one also has an Archive reward, which, guess what, is an Earth Sword, which is hilarious because, guess what, Lilebette uses a machine, not a sword. Wow. Stupid. Anyways, Earth physical attack and special damage 25% and damage cap 2000. This one is definitely going to be a very good one for your Earth damage dealers, but there aren't that many of, so there aren't that many that can really take advantage of this right now. But in the future, if we get some kind of dual wield Earth damage dealer, like maybe Levi's in the site, for instance, then in that situation it could be pretty good. But right now we don't really have any units that could take advantage of this really. And the funny thing is, Lilebette can't take advantage of this at all because she should be using a machine instead. But yeah, Earth Sword is not very common, so I think this will be kind of useful in the future. Not right now, but in the future for a dual wield Earth damage dealer. I feel like it's going to be quite nice. So this arc in general, I do think it's going to be a pretty nice one, but it's not going to be game breaking. It's not going to be on the same level as Susanoo, because that was ridiculous. But it is going to be a nice one to have, but not worth chasing for. So we would all like to get this one, but it's not necessary, and I can see some use from it for sure, mostly for PvP, I think. But apart from that, I like the attack damage and damage cap to the same attribute as the equipped weapon. That's probably my favourite part about this trait. And the learnable skills for PvP. That's probably everything regarding this arc. I think it's good. If you get it, then it's great, but you don't need it. So it's another one of those arcs where it would be nice to have, but you don't need it. Not necessary, it's not anything super game changing like Susanoo. So you can easily skip this one. I would like to get this one if possible, but I'm not going to be going super hard for this one. Let's hope we get it later on, but don't recommend pulling for it that hard because you don't really need it badly. You don't really need it at all really, but it does have some useful stuff. Now let's have a look at paid equipment. Unfortunately, there's only one this time, and she's got a 50 credential paid equipment. And this is actually... Is this just the exact same weapon as this one? I mean, the icon looks pretty much exactly the same. It's a different name, I know, but this icon basically looks like exactly the same sword as her paid weapon. I'm just pointing it out there. I'm just saying. It looks very similar. It's different. Not exactly the same, but it's quite similar. And this is a machine, apparently. A lot of strength increase at plus 40, by the way. So, Earth Machine, when equipped with only one weapon, Earth damage, physical damage 40%, and damage cap 10,000. Anti-type damage cap 5,000. Damage taken minus 15%, and strength increased by 10%. So, of course, this is going to be her best in slot weapon, but it's 50 credentials. And do you even need it? Nobody needs it. Nobody at all needs it, ever. It's not necessary. Like, yes, it's going to be probably her best in slot weapon for all content, but it's not necessary. It's just too expensive, I think. It's going to be a very good weapon when it comes around in the future in the Crimson Ore shop in like 6 months or so, but for right now, it's just way too expensive, and I don't recommend anyone to get this unless you're a super whale. That's up to you, but I'm not getting these, and I don't agree with 50 credential paid equipments. I never liked those, and I really hope the next unit does not have another 50 credential paid equipment, because if it does, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be annoyed if that happens again, but it's probably going to happen. I bet it does. I really hope it doesn't. It probably is. Never chase URs is like the basic thing, but there is a bit of an exception, a tiny bit of an exception when it comes to that rule, right? And that one rule is called Susanu, because that rerun came around recently, and even though it's a UR Ark that you should not chase, it's just too good, right? It's just too good. Yeah, Susanu had a rerun recently, and it's not currently up right now, but Susanu, even though it's a UR Ark, it's worth chasing a little bit. It's worth chasing a little bit. Even if you're free to play, it's worth doing at least a couple pulls on that one. It's not currently available, it's already gone, but I'm just saying, it's one of the best UR Arks in the game, period. So, and it's definitely, I've definitely seen a massive, some difference between Susanu and Icy Guardian. I've actually had some improvement between Susanu and Icy Guardian. Susanu's been a bit better than Icy Guardian for me in some situations. So Susanu is just insane in general, and I like it so much. It's one of the best arcs in the game right now, and that is the only exception, I think. Right now, at least, is Susanu is the only exception. Every other arc, you can probably easily not chase it, and it'll come back in the future for sure. But with Susanu, it's different. I think it's worth chasing for, but not. I mean, some people, I've heard some people have done 400 summons to pity Susanu. I'm not going to say any names, but you know, yeah, some people have done that, and they haven't regretted it because it has pushed their account and it allowed them to progress more in-game PvE content, so it's still a good pickup, even though 400 pulls is ridiculous, but it's still, you know, one of the best ones in the game. Right, so before we do any summons, I'm going to... there's still a few more things that I want to have a look at before we do summons. Number one is I want to have a look at trading space, and number two is have a look at the paid SSR Ark. So let's have a look at the Ark first. Let's go in the shop. I did not forget this time because I wrote it down this time, so I didn't forget. Wow. And let's see where it is. So the new SSR Ark is a paid Ark, of course, but I do want to cover it just so everyone's aware of if it's worth getting. I have only ever gotten this one. I didn't get the other ones because it paid crystals, right? And they just haven't been as necessary. So let's have a look. This one's the new one. Heroic Lord's Awakening is the new one today. So I think the arc trait on this one's pretty good, but more for PvP, I think. Armor equipped take 15% less damage. If the attack is dark, minus 20% more. You know what this means, and what this is basically telling me? Adis knows that Balezar is used a lot. Adis knows that Fairy King dies from dark damage dealers. They know for sure that the Balezar has been used for quite a while now since his release, and he's still used today, so that's probably the main reason. And this is crazy because this is damage taken, and this is all damage taken, and if it's dark, 20% more. So that's all form of damage, counter, magic, and physical and special, any form of damage, as long as it's dark, and if you have an armor, then 35% damage mitigation, basically, pretty damn good. Light physical attack damage is increased by 40%, pretty nice, and at the start of battle, restore 1 SCT, restore skill 1's SCT by 10 seconds, and give a revive effect to this unit. Yeah, I mean, yes, this trait is definitely PvP focused. I can see that, because you've got a good amount of damage mitigation, you've got 40% light damage, which isn't really for PvP really, but you can use that for light damage if you really want to. And you've also got the restore SCT for skill 1, but the main part about this is the revive effect to the unit. The revive effects are very rare in this game. We don't have many arcs in the game that give a revive effect on the trait. We've got like 2 existing in the game already, actually 3. We've got 3 in the game. One's a UR Ark, one's a Collab Ark, one's an SSR Ark, and the 4th one is now this one. So yeah, it's very rare. Sustainer is basically good on every single physical damage dealer, so yes, it's going to be good on Lilebette for sure. It's going to be good on any physical damage dealer. Even better on dual damage dealers. Now the learnable skills, God Shield, Siege Pose is new. When defeating an enemy, get a skill damage 30% buff. This one's going to be nice for PvP, for sure. It's going to be very nice. Especially for someone like Telestio, maybe. Or just any physical damage dealer for PvP is probably going to like this one. And then two-handed drive, axe, spear, machine. So when equipped with only one weapon that is either an axe, spear, or machine, increase attack damage by 15%, so the same attribute as the equipped weapon, 5 SC. It's pretty nice, but it is incredibly specific. First of all, you've got to have one weapon equipped. Second of all, it's got to be either an axe, spear, or machine. And then finally, same attribute as your equipped weapon. So it's very situational, but on some single damage dealers in PvP, this will be quite a nice skill. And this is attack damage, so you can use this on Fairy King for his counter damage, and that's pretty nuts. So I do think this skill is quite nice, and it kind of makes seeing what this Ark has kind of makes me want to get it now. But let's keep going. Thunder Armor with you. Battlestar, if only one other ally also has this skill, strength is increased by 20% for 7 SC. Is that worth it, 7 SC? How much is attack up max? I forget. I think it's like 6 SC for 15% or something. So yes, this is probably going to be quite nice for more strength in PvE content. If you need more strength, this could be quite good. And strength is very important in the end game content like Battleground Simulator, because the bosses have incredibly high defense. So I do think this will be quite nice in PvE content. So that's great. Another good, useful skill to have for sure. And then special boost 4, more special damage and damage cap 5000. So some pretty good learnable skills overall. I do like these ones. Siege Pose, very nice. And this two-handed skill, quite nice, but just very situational, but still quite nice one for PvP. These two are more for PvP, and then this one's for PvE, but the strength's very nice. So I do like those 3 learnable skills. Those are very nice skills. Then the Ark for reward is an accessory. Strength, defense, mind, nullify defense and mind, cut debuffs from active skills. Also gives 10 light resistance and curse resistance as well. It's alright. It's an okay accessory, I suppose. But nullifying debuffs from active skills, I feel like it's rarely useful, you know? But maybe in some situations it can be useful. Because I don't think it applies to like battle start debuffs like Theopolis in PvP for instance. I don't think it applies to that. It only applies to like debuffs that the enemies cast, right? So I never really see myself worrying about this, so I've never really used an accessory like this, so I don't think it's that crazy. I think the main value of this Ark is going to be the traits, because it has a good amount of damage mitigation, and revive effect, very strong for sure. Does active skills include spells? Yeah. When they say act from active skills, sometimes I don't know why they even say that, because there is a similar accessory. You know the accessory we had a while ago that increased the duration of status ailments from active skills? It says from active skills, but it applies to any form of way that you inflict ailments. So even though it says from active skills, that one still applies to your, you know, normal attacks, research skills. So maybe active skills just means like your skills that you have in on your units, right? Not your like actual skills or anything. That's probably what it means. But yeah, I think this Ark's pretty nice, but it's more for PvP. And if you don't really care too much about PvP, I don't think it's as necessary. But I still think it's quite nice because damage mitigation is quite strong on this one, and a revive effect on this trait is going to be quite useful. And these learnable skills are quite useful as well. So I do like this Ark. I don't know if I'm going to be getting this one yet. I'm considering it, I'm thinking about it, because these 3 learnable skills that are only on this Ark are quite nice, and the trait is going to be quite nice, but these are mostly for PvP. But for PvE, some of these could be good for PvE as well. Like, I suppose this one, if you're using a single damage dealer for PvE, could work, but all the best ones are dual wield, apart from Cloudia could technically use this because she's a spear damage dealer, isn't she? She uses a spear, a light spear, so technically she could use that for some more damage if you need it. So yeah, I think these learnable skills are pretty good, and the traits. Now, is it worth the 4,500 paid crystals? That's up to you. It's not necessary, really. I think it is a good one, for sure. It's definitely a nice one to have, but it's not necessary. You don't need it at all. And the best one in here is still this one, because of the SCT spell that it has is very good, and one of the most useful spells in the game for sure. So I still consider the Star Reader country, this one, to be the best one to get. And also the other one, this one that has the equivalent Wind Reed's Apple Pie spell, which is this one, Arcane Skill. This one's very good if you don't have an SCT spell. I didn't get it because I don't feel like I need this, but yeah, I still feel like the Star Reader is the best one for sure. Heroic Lord's Awakening Ark, pretty solid, but nobody really needs it. It's more for PvP, but I'm considering it. 4,500 paid crystals, a bit much for an Ark, but not too bad, I suppose. She doesn't really need... Also, this doesn't synergize really at all with the new Lilebette. It's just a new Ark in general that can be used on most units, I suppose, for the damage mitigation, more for tanks. But the UR Ark for Lilebette is definitely going to be a very good one. It does synergize with the new Lilebette because the SCT regen should work with her infinite SCT buff. So I do think the new Ark is going to be good. The UR is going to be good on Lilebette, sure, but you don't need it. None of these things are necessary, right? But they are going to be useful. They are going to be pretty good, but don't recommend a chase for this Ark. This unit, probably worth getting for newer players for sure. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I'm going to cover one more thing for now, and then we'll do summons. There's one more thing I want to mention before we do summons, and that is the UR Ark trade ticket that we are going to get next week. I just want to quickly talk about that and just kind of give some suggestions on that. Now, I know it's not available yet. Yeah, you could technically get Susanu for a ridiculous amount of paid crystals. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's quite expensive. So there's a couple of trading spaces on right now. This one goes up to the most recent one, and this one goes up to a Suratron. So this is the one that we get for free, I believe. I do really like this Ark because the trait is just quite good for PvP, and Demo Judge Wedge is quite good for PvP as well, and the Archive Reward is actually very good for PvE content. So I do consider this Ark to be one of the better ones, but not the one that you should be selecting depending on what you have. This ticket always depends on what you already have on your account, so it's always difficult to give a suggestion of what you should be selecting, but I still think the best option, the #1 Ark you should be getting from this is still Theopolis. I still consider Theopolis to be the most useful one in here until the 7th anniversary, because in the 7th anniversary that should include Susanu. So in the 7th anniversary, it's going to be Susanu in the 7th anniversary. That's the one you're going to want to select in 6 months from now, I believe. But for this anniversary, the Sauratron's pretty good. I still recommend Theopolis as your #1 choice. Then after that, it really depends on what you're looking for. There are a lot of choices, so it's kind of up to you. Redemption of the Beast, I've used this quite a bit. It's not necessary, but I do use this on support units, like Spirit Maiden Sarah, for instance, very good with this. And on Lena, it's actually very good on Lena as well. If you have Lena with Honey Elixir or something, this can allow her to use that a lot easier because of the cost of MP healing, minus 30%. It is very nice. So I do like this one too. I probably think the Sauratron's probably more useful. I'm not going to go through every single one, I'm just going to point out the more useful ones. And I do like this. I was considering selecting this one because of the Mega Boost skills, but not the most necessary either. Kairos Zobra isn't the best. Like, I rarely use this one. I don't have it on my account right now, but even when I did have it, I didn't really use it, so I don't think it's that amazing. The Ark skill is okay, right? Yes, it restores Special Gauge and SET for the unit, but there are better Arks now, like Susanu is the better choice if you have it. So that's the problem, right? Soul Blade's still very good because of the Ark skill on this one, and this one also got a buff, so this one is pretty good for the Ark skill. I just like the menus from that though. For Imperial Kings, it's just for PvP, but if you care about PvP, it can be useful. Also has counter shield, by the way. Kronos has a SET spell which is rotating hands, this one, so that can be good sometimes. If you're lacking an SET spell, rotating hands could be good, but only if you're free to play, I think, because if you're willing to spend a little bit, then the one in the paid Ark in the shop is slightly better than this. Yeah, Xenobas is very good. Even if you don't have Zero, it can be good outside of Zero as well, because I've been using this on Lornado, very good on Lornado. Any ice damage dealer can be good on those. And also, here's why I think it's good. It gives you 20% physical damage, right? And it also gives you resistance to flinch for 20 seconds, right? That's why I think it's good, because I can even use this on any physical damage dealer I want to take advantage of the flinch resistance buff and 20% physical damage. So I've been using this on units like Suzaku, and it's quite good because of the flinch resistance, and it also gives 20% physical damage, so this one's definitely a very strong one. Now, unfortunately, Zero isn't super meta anymore. He is still a strong unit, for sure, but he requires way too many limited skills to reach his maximum potential, and if you don't have those skills, if you don't have all of those skills, I just don't think he's worth using anymore, really, because we have better options. And honestly, I've been having more success with Lornado than Zero. That's just for my account, because I don't have all of the skills necessary to boost Zero up to the maximum. So the end game players, the players that have been playing on their account for a very long time, can still get to Zero to be very strong. But for other players that haven't been playing as long, they're not going to be able to get as much advantage, as much out of Zero as older players. But it is still a very nice Ark for sure. It isn't just for Zero anymore, it can be used for other units, so and maybe in the future if we get another no-wield type units, then maybe it could be good on those in the future. We rarely get those, they're very rare. Now what else? Demon Lord Karmanog it's got Fire Ensemble. I would never select this one though, but Thrall of God is still pretty good for PvP. Summon Spirit's got a nice buff for the Ark skill. Now this one is 10,000 damage cap debuff at level 10, so this one's a very nice one. I do like this one. And the Archive Reward, I never really used that one, honestly. The Ark skill on that one's pretty good. Mecha God Metatron is still quite a nice one because of the full charge skill. this one's very nice. If you don't have any SCT support, any SCT skills, then it can be quite nice. It's less necessary on Lilebette because she already has the infinite SCT when she has a buff, but this also has Machine Mega Boost, which don't underestimate this. Machine Mega Boost is still amazing because the piercing effect in PvE content is just very good because the endgame content has very high stats, so I still consider this Ark to be quite a strong one. And even this, I've been using this on Callan sometimes. It's pretty good, so it's still a decent one. Probably one I would consider. Is this Ark that I can't pronounce any good? Well, yes, it's pretty good, but I wouldn't really recommend it because it's mostly for PvP, right? The learnable skills, not very good. I never really used any of these learnable skills, so it doesn't really have any good learnable skills. And the Ark trait is just for PvP. I don't use it as much as I used to when it came out, but it is still useful in some situations for PvP. The Ark skill, just kind of bad. And the Ark Keeper reward, never really use it too much either. So it's not really one I would pick really, because there are better options. And it's mostly the PvP for the traits. Apart from that, it doesn't really provide much else. So you can easily skip that one because there's probably better options. It really depends on what you have and what you don't have already. 3 Emperors has Iron Wall counter, which is good for Fairy King. And this Arcade reward is actually pretty nice for most content actually. So this Ark's pretty nice. Ark skill, Arcade reward. I do use this a hell of a lot. Probably one of my most used accessories because it gives the most damage for an accessory. It's very good. Some of these I still don't have, but they're not super necessary. This has Holy Ensemble, but that's kind of like the main useful thing from it, really. I would like this because Stone Enhance. Stone Enhance, like the main use you get out of this. And also, this is a Earth Claw. I was going to say Machine, but it's an Earth Claw, so never mind. And this Ark skill is good, but we've got Susanoo. It's basically the Susanoo at home, kinda. Yeah, this isn't really... I should probably speed it up a little bit. I'm not going to go through every single one. Here's what I was considering to use my ticket on. Is Prefects of God. Now, this one is mainly a PvP focused Ark, right? But the trait is just very good in PvP. And the learnable skills like Sky High 2 is very good for PvP. And you also got Fire Mega Drive. I don't remember if Callan has that or not. I don't know. But I do like this one for PvP. It's got a very nice trait and learnable skills. So I'm probably going to use my ticket on that one personally. Holy War is still a very nice one. Giant Killing 2, Amulet of the Vow. Very good stuff on this one too. Archking Eldravana is a very nice one. Council 10 still a very good one, but less necessary if you've got Susanoo, I suppose. Kagosuchi, some people have been thinking of getting this one. Main reason being, it's got Flame Circle, and I believe this is the only Ark in the game, or one of the only Arks in the game that has Flame Circle. So some people have been considering to get this one just for Flame Circle, and that's because Ice and Icy Guardian is just used a lot. So, and this sword is still pretty good, and it has a Godforge as well. So some people have been considering getting that. Theopolis is still probably the #1 Ark I would recommend to pick from these this tickets. Lily Matter got an increase with the Ark skill, so it is a pretty decent Ark skill now. But I wouldn't recommend to get that one. Great Wall of Ruin is still very good, but it isn't used as much as it used to because we've had like less special damage dealers than we used to have, right? So it isn't as broken as it used to be, but it is still a decent one to have for sure, because of, you know, the Ark skill still pretty nice. Restoring special gauge is still going to be useful. Like, it's still always going to be useful, just not as useful as it used to be. And the Archive Reward gives you a revive effect accessory, so it's still a pretty good one. But Theopolis is the better choice. Theopolis is still better. It's probably not... Great War of Ruin is not the best option anymore, but it's still a pretty decent one for sure. And that's like all of the Arks. Again, it really depends on what you already have on your account. I can't really give a recommendation for every single person here, right? Because it really depends on what you do and don't have. So I would just recommend to go through each Ark that you don't have yet, and just have a brief look and see what's going to give the most use out of your accounts. But I can say for sure, make sure to get Theopolis if you don't already have it, because I still feel like it's the most useful one here. Because it provides a pretty good useful trait, and Thaumaturgy Ring as a learnable skill is very good, and the Ark skill, I still use this quite a bit, and the Archive Reward is one of the best staffs in the game. I use this on Shift Linus, and it's probably the best staff to use on Linus, I think. So one of the best staffs in the game, and a very good skill. Thaumaturgy Ring and the trait, pretty solid, so I would probably pick that as my first choice if I didn't have it yet, out of everything else. Like, if I was missing every single Ark, I would probably pick Theopolis as my first choice, is what I would say. And then after that, it really depends on what you have and don't have, really. But there are some pretty good options in here. I think Asuratron's pretty nice. You know, I'm not going to go through every single one again, but, you know, I can't really give a recommendation on what you should and shouldn't get. It really depends on what you have, but I'm going to leave it there for that ticket. And as a reminder, you do get that ticket next week. So in a week from now, everyone should be getting that ticket from the event, and then you can use that ticket there. I'm probably going to get Prefect of God from that ticket. That's what I'm considering, because Sky High 2 and the trait just seems good for PvP, but I'm still thinking about it. So it's taken us almost 2 hours, and we haven't even got to the summons yet, so you can tell how big this anniversary is, and how big anniversaries are in general. They've always got big updates to them. So I think that's everything I wanted to do before the summons. So for now, let's do some summons, I suppose, and hope it goes well. And after that, I do want to start showcasing the new units and have a look at Dilmordo as well, to see how they perform, and we'll see how it goes. But let's see how this goes, because I'm quite interested to see the different summon animations and everything, because I haven't seen them yet. So I'm interested to see what they did with the animations and how it goes. Let's hope we get some new stuff from here. I did buy some of the stuff in the shop already, just the ones that I want to get. The plan for today is I'm going to be using all these tickets, and these 2 tickets, and we'll also do lap 1. If we don't get anything at all, I'm probably going to do a couple of single pulls, but I'm not going to be pitying or going super hard on these banners, because I don't feel like I need anything from these current banners, really. Yes, the unit and the Ark would be quite nice to get. I think they would be nice, but they're not super necessary, so I'm not going to go super hard on these banners. And I'm going to hope that the next unit coming up in 2 weeks is quite interesting, because they should be, I hope so. We'll see. So let's use these tickets first of all. These are the anniversary tickets. I've gotten some of these from the shop. Some you can get from logging in. Make sure to put in the code, either driver or whatever it's called, into the website, and you get 5 more anniversary tickets, and you can get some more tickets from the event and the anniversary medals as well. So make sure to get all the available anniversary tickets first before you spend any crystals, is always what I say. So let's start off with the anniversary tickets. Let's do these first 9, and then we'll do the rest of the tickets, see how it goes. I hope we get the Ark, because that would be probably the main thing, that would be the best thing to get for sure. But I'm not expecting anything. We'll just see. Oh look, a beach. Now that is something different. That's different, I'll say that. Now I get what people are saying when they said beach. So when you see a beach, I'm wondering if that different background implies that there's going to be a guaranteed red in here. Before you even see it, I'm wondering if that's the case. Like, can you get a beach animation and not get a red? I wonder. 3 animations, and you can see, yeah, there's a red. Interesting. Not going to be new, is it? No, but... Oh, there was 2 in there. Okay. Well, that's definitely different. I mean, what can I say other than it feels different and a lot quicker than the animations before were very slow. But it still feels kind of similar. I think the fundamental system for summoning is going to be very similar. Because I feel like it's still going to be those 3 units that pop up, right? And obviously the, like, 3 Lilebette and Zekka showing up behind Kyle is going to be the same thing. I think the main difference being the beach animation probably means you're going to get a red guaranteed. That's probably what it means. So, Temple. So, if I'm guessing this right, you should be looking for a beach. There's a beach. So, does that mean that there's another red in here? I wonder. I think so. Maybe. We're guessing. We're seeing what it's... I think so. So far, we've only seen a beach. Let's hope we get something new in here. Probably not. I think it's rarely. So, Adele, Linus, and Sarah is like the 3 animations. So, there's no extra animations. You want the blue stage? Huh. Okay, Kino. I wonder what the blue stage is. We'll see. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe the blue stage means you get something new. I don't know. So here's the temple ticket. So this is normal. So does this mean there's no red? I feel like you should still have a chance to get a red from this. Like, I don't think this is the normal background we've always seen, right? I'm less hopeful now, right? But there should still be a chance that you can get a red from it. Like, there's no way that they've just made this animation mean that you don't get any. Unless that is the case, which probably... Yeah, that's probably definitely the case. There's not going to be one in there. I could tell. I could definitely tell on that one. But there is still a random chance you can get one showing up, but I don't think it's going to happen. Interesting, at least. Kind of interesting. Now I'm going to be using these 2 tickets. I got these 2 tickets from the shop, by the way. Okay, so standard stage can still provide reds. It's good to know, at least. It's probably just less likely. That's probably what I'm guessing. So this ticket includes all Descent of Heroes Festival units from Eliza up until the most recent Lilebette. So there's a 1.25% chance to get the new Lilebette from these tickets. I am expecting nothing. I just would like to get at least something new from it, but I have most of them. The reason why I bought these tickets is because even if I get something old, even if it's new, it's going to give me more crystals from getting a new unit. So this is going to be interesting to see what the animations are on this, because we know it's a guaranteed unit in here. So let's have a look at the animations. Probably a beach. No beach. Well, you know it's going to be a red anyways. So it doesn't matter, but... It's obviously going to be a dupe, but... That's annoying. The last one. I was really hoping to hopefully get something new on this. Old stage again. Doesn't really matter what the animations are, guaranteed red, so... Yeah, it's probably going to be another dupe. I can really feel it. It's definitely going to be. Has anyone had a UR Ark animation or something? Like, is there a dark blue orb now? That's funny. Arn-wise, a lot of people would have really liked this guy from these tickets, but because I already have him, it's less good. But still, that's is quite nice to get more SC for this guy. And he is a unit I use in PvP, so I'm not going to complain about that, because getting a dupe for him is actually pretty good. So, I'm alright with that. Blue stage giving the UR, well, there seems to be some, you know, maybe that's linked in some way. I hope I at least see the blue stage so I can understand what it means. But I'm not going to be doing like hundreds of summons just to find out. So let's do lap 1. We'll see what happens here. And I'm probably going to do some free crystal summons after this, depending on how it goes. But I'm not going to go super hard. Most of these are going to be skips. Because these are just 2 pulls, so it's not going to be anything in there. Yeah, so blue stage is probably the most likely, the most luckiest stage, right? So if you see a blue stage, I want to see a blue stage then. No. There can probably still be something, but... Let's watch this one, as long as it doesn't look terrible. I kinda... Still the old stage again. Yeah, it's not going to be anything in this one either. I'm going to watch it anyways, but it's going to go gold. It's going to stay at gold. But definitely. And there is like a puff of smoke if you've seen that, like the smoke effect. It's definitely a more... It feels like a more up-to-date experience at least. Which is nice. Okay, 310 pull. Here's what we're hoping for. Spirit Maiden, Ceres, paid gear, yes, definitely get both of those. They're very strong, they're amazing. Both are very good. So, 310 pull. Can we at least get a red from this? Old stage is... No, there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there either. There's not going to be anything in this one. Watch it anyways, but... Nah. Probably still a small chance to get a red in here, but it's not going to happen. Like I expected. So that is all of the tickets and stuff that I have. I will try to... I'll do a couple more pulls, at least. But I'm not going to go super hard on this banner, okay? Because we do get some more tickets available later on in the event. I just want to do a couple more singles, and I will do one more 10 pull. Try to get a few more reds, see if we can get something from this banner. But I do want to save. I know I have a lot of crystals, but I know that this banner isn't necessary for me. But I'm going to do one more 10 pull, and then we'll do some single pulls. We'll see how it goes, and take it from there, I suppose. If we get one of the two, then that's definitely going to be the stopping point, but it's probably not going to happen, is it? No. I kind of want to skip it, but it's a 10 pull, so I'm not gonna. See, there is a red in there. It's most likely going to be a dupe, though. Okay. 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 Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Well, is more recent. I did kind of want this for, like, Poison Finesse is pretty nice, so it's not bad. I think it's a nice one to have, so I do like having it, at least. Yeah, here's the thing, is crystals are going to go even faster now, because the animations are quicker, so... Yeah. Now let's do some single pulls, because I'm curious to know how the animations are going to go on single pulls. Like, can you get, like, a beach or a different stage on a single pull and stuff like that? So I'm going to be doing this for a little while, try and get some stuff if possible. But I'm not going to do too many. I'm only going to watch it if it looks promising. which is probably not gonna. I should probably do another temple. I'm only not gonna skip it if it's the rear. Or a different... If it's a different background, I'll watch it. I feel like a different background is going to be less common on the single pulls. I mean, of course, because less pulls, but I'm just saying... Another temple. Yeah, well... Remember what I said. Remember what I said before. There's no point in doing temples. The only reason why you want to do temples is to do it quicker. And I know the animations will be interesting, but there's zero reason to do a temple in this game when you don't get any benefit from it. So I don't do temples. I'm just going to be doing singles until something looks interesting. This screen looks a bit brighter for some reason, but I don't know why. It's gonna go gold. No, not. Just waste my time. We need to see a different background. That's what I really need to see. That'd be fun. If it's even gonna happen. I wonder if you get a beach on a Singapore, if that means it's a red. I wonder. I mean, so far this just seems pretty normal. But yeah, we're not getting any reds anymore. As soon as I started single pulls, we haven't gotten a single red, which is annoying. This is very not exciting at all, is it? There's not much going on. That's what it feels like with single pulls, but has to be done. Or I could just not do any. Oh, come on, Lilebette. I don't want to see you. Actually, I do. Just not there. Just a different one. Yeah, save. I'm definitely going to be saving for collab, but I don't mind doing a couple of single pulls on this banner to try and get some stuff if possible. But I do have enough saved for collab, so it's fine. How many have we done so far is what I want to have a look at. 59. It's kind of painful, but I'm not going to be getting the paid agreement, so I don't need to worry about that. I don't think there's even any anniversary tickets you can trade for in here. It kind of sucks. But I'll do a few more. Should I always say that many times? I know. Yeah. I got most of the important ones in here. I think I'll buy this one, because it's pretty cheap for that. I don't think any of these are worth it, really. Yeah, we'll do a bit more. And hope we get some more interesting animations, I suppose. I've yet to get a red from a single pull today, and that's weird. I want to see a different background on a single pull just to see what it means. Like, if it means you're going to get a red on a single pull guaranteed, would be nice. Nope. I know the anniversary event does have a couple more tickets in there, but we have to clear the stages first. Get them to 100%. That's going to take a while. Really? Well, I never said the next red would be a stopping point. I never said that. So, we'll try to get another one, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not seeing any backgrounds so far for single pulls. Maybe if you were to get like something new, or one of the on-banner things from a single pull, it might give a background. I'm just kind of guessing at this point. That would explain why I haven't gotten any. I still want to do the showcases after this in a moment. Okay, this isn't great. I'm just gonna try and get one more red, okay? I'm gonna start skipping these a bit quicker because I don't want to be here all day. I'm sure you don't want it either. But I'll try and get another red, and then we'll leave it there. Yeah, I know the single pulls make it feels like it's longer, but trust me, single pulls are a lot better because you don't waste any crystals at all, unless they change something with the banner. But there's a gold. I'm gonna watch it anyways, but just because I haven't watched any in a while. Yeah. Oh look, a gold. Has anyone seen that before? A golden ray. I have never seen that. A gobble. What's that mean? And what? I've never seen that in my life. Has anyone else seen that in animations? Because I have never seen that in my life, ever. A ray that's golden, and a gobble also showing up. I mean, there's definitely a red in here, but would this specific animation mean that there's something new? I don't know. But if there's not something new, I'm just gonna be not happy, you know? But I've never seen this animation in my life. There's definitely a red. Yes. Oh, great. That's amazing stuff. I can definitely stop pulling on this banner now. There we go. I think we've learned something today. We always learn something every day, but geez. I'm gonna have to clip that or something. I'm gonna have to show that to people because I think most players are not aware. They probably haven't seen that animation yet because I haven't heard of anyone talk about that. But yeah, that's that's great. That was fun. There was no that's quite interesting. So I definitely think that animation was it's one of the on rate up animations. I think that was probably the animation for that. That's my guess. So when Ray shows up and he's golden, probably means that it's something that's rate up on the banner. That's my guess. But as we've heard, it's still possible to get one of the new things without that animation. It just means that this animation, if you do get it, might give a guaranteed new thing. I don't know, I'm guessing based on what has happened, but that was nice. Definitely a lot more interesting animations for sure than we have gotten in the past, because there's a lot more variety with the animations now. You've got different backgrounds, you've got different people showing up. It definitely feels a lot more, you know, better animations, so I do prefer that. And I'm not going to be pulling on this banner anymore, because I did manage to get the Ark, and I would like this unit too. I think this unit is going to be very nice, but it's not super necessary for my account, and I'm still going to be able to get some tickets later on in the event. So I'm going to be stopping here. Only took us 79 pulls with crystals and about 29 tickets, so pretty good, pretty great, like that. It's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since I've managed to get an Ark on. Actually, it hasn't. Susanu was the last time. I got that from Shifling. It says rerun, and Balezar. I missed a couple of them in here, but definitely want to start using some of this stuff. That's going to be fun. That's going to be great. Right, so what I want to do now is I want to start showcasing the new units and the new Insight unit. That's going to be the main focus. Yeah, that was interesting. I have to say, that animation, because it's just new today, I haven't heard of anyone that's had that animation yet. So it wouldn't surprise me if that specific animation means that it's one of the on rate up units or arcs. It wouldn't surprise me. Unless, here's a theory as well, there is a small chance that that could have meant, that specific animation could have meant UR Ark as well. We don't know. I mean, it could have mean a lot of different things. Here it is. So I'm going to go on Steam now, and I want to start showcasing, let me change the size of this. I want to start showcasing the new units in the unit test play quest, and also the new Insight units. So that's going to be the main focus for the rest of the stream, I believe, and we've covered most of everything else that's in this update. So it probably won't be too much longer, but it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to be saving the rest for now. Right, so event. Let's have a look, start focusing more on the new shift Lilebette. So Demongunner Lilebette. So unit test play quest, I've already done this earlier, but so she's got all of her base skills, of course, like always, and paid equipment, you know, pretty, these equipments, these three, are going to be pretty good for sure on her. Obviously you don't need her paid equipment, you could use any random earth machine that you have, if you have one. But yeah, let's try her out in here. Of course, this is going to be where you're going to see her maximum potential pretty much with base skills, because in this unit test play quest she's going to be able to get her damage cap from hitting weakness and also slayers. So she's going to get all of her damage cap boosts here, and the Ark and her paid equipment. Are you telling me that there's also a different specific animation for the unit? Because that would be interesting as well. But also, I mean, I'm still on the edge about it. Like, it's a good and a bad thing. Like, yes, it's interesting, it's fine. to see the animation that looks exciting, but at the same time, when the second you see the animation, at that point you know you've already got it, and there's no like guessing of is this it or not, you know. But let's start off with this unit test play quest now for the new Lilebette, because I want to try out all of her skills and everything, understand how she plays out, and also want to have a look at Dilmordo's Insight after this as well, because that should be fun. Right, so she has 4 skill stocks for skill 1, 3 for skill 2, and 2 for skill 3. Pretty basic, really. Kind of low skill stocks on skill 1, honestly. Good amount of strength. And here's the thing. She has, on her trait, she gets the buff on a boss wave when she uses her first skill. So when I use a skill, she's going to get the buff back, right? We're not going to focus on that part yet. I just want to have a look at her animations and her skills first of all, to see how they are working, because I haven't tried them out really properly. So her normal attack obviously is going to be close range. 4 hits, normal attack. I mean, not really much to say about it, but yeah, it's okay. Skill 1. Now she's got the buff, you can see she's got that effect, and she's got this icon. And using a skill does not consume a skill slot. You can see, I think the biggest positive about this, like, the best thing about this is her damage cap, like 332,000 damage cap, or basically 333,000, is quite a lot in a unit test play quest for a single build damage dealer, and we don't always see stuff like that. So, I know she's hitting all of her, you know, weakness damage cap and stuff right now, but it is still very nice to see this amount of damage cap at base in a unit test play quest. But you do have to remember, in most situations you're not going to be able to hit that damage cap, because you have to hit specific enemy types, and you also have to hit weakness as well, which isn't always possible in every single content. So let's go in again, try her skill 2 out next, and her skill 3. I think the skill 1 is okay. I don't think they're super spammable though. And what you're really looking for like endgame type of DPS is super spammable skills. This one is the long range attack, and then it closes the gap. Throws out something, and then teleports. This one is quite a bit faster than skill 1. I do like it quite a bit more than skill 1, because it can be used anywhere, so it's quite handy. I wonder if you can combo her skills together, would be nice. Well, one thing's for sure is the enemy's definitely dying very quickly, but that's just because she's hitting for quite a lot of damage cap right now in this unit test play quest. And if you boost her even further with like Susanu and stuff like that, it could be a lot of damage cap, honestly. Like, it would be hilarious if you can get 500,000 damage cap on a single build damage dealer. Would be hilarious. I don't think it's possible yet, but maybe soon. There's still a bit of a delay, so you can't really keep spamming it like Callan's skill 3 or Joshua's skill 3 or any of Joshua's skills really, because there is a bit of a delay between the next time you use a skill. I do like it when skills are very spammable. That's like my favourite part of some skills. She's definitely killing them very quickly. I feel like eventually, soon, they should definitely increase the health of this enemy, because it's going to start reaching a point where the enemy dies too quickly, like right now, that you can't really get a proper test. Now let's try out her skill 3. This one's definitely her best skill, and it's going to be her fastest skill for DPS, and the one you're going to want to spam when she has her buff active. She's pretty fast. There is a bit of a delay in the middle, like it does 9 hits, and a tiny bit of delay, and then it does the rest of them. And then if you try and spam this, it's not too bad, right? It's going to be pretty good, I can tell that, for sure. Yeah, slight delay, so because of those delays, and mainly because of those delays, I don't think she's going to be a super top tier DPS, right? But at least it's not Balan's tier, true. I still think it's going to be pretty good. Now, let's actually start showing off her buff. So when I use a skill 3, she gets this ether link buff, right? And it allows me to keep spamming skill 3 or any skill non-stop for 10 seconds. Which is hilarious, by the way. Because you can just kill the enemy that quickly by just spamming skill 3 and not having to worry about SCT. And that's why I think this unit is going to be perfect for newer players, because you don't even have to worry about restoring SCT back. You can just keep spamming your skill 3 non-stop for 10 seconds, and then once those 10 seconds are up, you can cast that magic spell again for another 10 seconds. And then after that, kind of screwed after that, for 30 seconds at least. But yeah, she's going to be more difficult to use in longer stages, but in just quicker, like, storage stages, she's going to be pretty damn good. And I also want to try out her special as well. You know, it would have been cool if her special also gave her that ether link buff. It would have been nice. And the range of the skill 3 is pretty good. It does have a good lunge to it, so I do like that. And let's use a special. I don't think it's going to do too much. It is an AoE special, remember. It will hit all the enemies. But the damage cap isn't too much. This looks cool. Yeah, that passed very quickly, so that's a good positive as well. Yeah, I definitely feel like this unit's going to be very good. Like, based on this unit Let's Play quest, it feels like she's going to be quite good. And definitely on the higher end of damage dealers so far. And the fact that she can be used easily, because she can just ignore resistance on her skills and special, and she also has that infinite SCT for 10 seconds. It's going to be quite nice. Now, let's do this one more time and just put all of our skills together, see if there's any combos or anything, and then we'll leave it there for this unit, and then we'll start having a look at the Insight unit for, well, Insight for Dilmordo, because I think that'll be interesting, but haven't really looked at it too much. So, I feel like her best DPS is definitely going to be her skill 3, just spamming this non-stop. So skill 2 is not as fast. It wasn't really... Yeah, I just think you're better off spamming her skill 3 non-stop. That's going to be the best DPS for this unit. Her skill 1 and skill 2 won't do as good, but they're still going to be pretty solid. Skill 2 definitely going to be quite a bit better than skill 1. So, skill 3, skill 2, skill 1 in that order, basically. That's what I feel like so far. But yeah, she's going to be pretty nice. I don't think she's going to be anything game-breaking. She's going to be a very all-around solid unit that's very easy to use. So I think she's going to be great. She's just not going to be breaking any ceilings, but we don't need to have a super broken unit every time. Don't need one all the time. When Cloudia came out, that was kind of a problem because she was like a million times better than everyone else when she released. But now, it's a bit more balanced now because we're starting to get like more units on Cloudia's level, right? Like Callan and Joshua. A Roland's pretty good, and I do think this Lilebette is going to be quite strong as well. But I don't think she's going to work in PvP because she has a lot that is tied to hitting weakness and also against bosses and stuff as well. so I don't think she's going to work in PvP. She's definitely a PvE focused unit for, you know, just clearing any content. She can do most of it, just not the quickest. So yeah. Basically, the game was fine, and then Sholtir released, and it was like, uh-oh, this unit now has insane DPS that's a million times better than everyone else. It was an issue at the time, but now it's a lot more, you know, more balanced than it used to be. But I hope they don't do that again, because if they do something like that again, I'll be honest, it's probably likely to happen in the future. It usually happens at some point. Like, there's usually one unit that ends up being broken, and they didn't. Most cases, I'd like to think that they didn't expect it to be as strong as they expected, but yeah, well, at least Sholtir isn't the #1 best choice for everything anymore. Instead, we've got Callan and Joshua, and then on the lower end, A. Rollins, and now Lilebette. So you are with the beach on a single pool. That's interesting. So I think the animation I got specifically was just that specific animation that has a chance to appear when you get that new thing, right? Yeah, Lelouch, Emperor Lelouch with Sholtir is definitely still one of the better teams to use for sure, if I had Sholtir, that is, because lowering light resistance and light in general in PvE is pretty good in PvE in general. She's still going to be one of the better ones for sure, but someone like Lilebette is not going to be able to compete against those super top tier units. But here's the thing, I don't think she is trying to fit that role of highest DPS type unit. I think her main role is going to be just an all-around solid unit that can be used in most stages, kind of like Adele and other units like that that we've seen in the past that have been just very strong, easy to use units, but nothing super game-changing, you know? And I'm okay with those types of units. I like those types of units because they are super ideal for newer players, for sure, and having one like this on an anniversary, definitely a good thing, I think. Imagine this, what if we, instead of Lilebette, what if we had the crappy version of Bayland instead for this anniversary? That would have been a insane, like, terrible anniversary type unit to have, wouldn't it? It would have been awful. It would have been so bad. But yeah, I will talk more about this Demon Lilebette in the conclusion, but so far, based on testing, she definitely seems like quite a good unit. But if you already have the existing best options for DPS for endgame, then she's not going to benefit your account too much. She's mostly for players that don't have those super top tier DPS units. And if you don't have those, then Lilebette becomes incredibly useful for sure, because you definitely want to have at least one very strong damage dealer on your account to be able to progress more to the end game, right? So I definitely feel like Lilebette's going to be able to allow you to progress through quite far into the game if you don't have those other existing units already. So I think she'll be nice for sure. Now let's have a look at, yeah, unfortunately most top tier units are collabs. That's just how it happens in this game, and usually why most people say save for collabs, because most collab units, a lot of those end up being quite strong. If you look at non-collab unit damage dealers, there's not that many, right? The best non-collab physical DPS unit we have is Ascended Roland, and then I would rate Lilebette probably very close to that, but we're gonna have to see if more people to try her out first. But Ascended Roland now being available in the Descent of Heroes banner as an off banner is great. He is still the best Descent of Heroes unit for DPS non-collab, Her then A Roland, well, I can't say. It's hard to tell. Reason why is because of his 100% crit rate, right, and Icy Guardian. That's why Ascended Roland's so good. If you reduce ice resistance enough, then Ascended Roland becomes very good, because he's basically got 100% crit rate, and every hit's going to get Icy Guardian on top of it. So I feel like they're both very similar. Lilebette might rate a bit higher. I think her DPS is going to be similar to Ascended Roland's. Maybe slightly better, slightly worse, I don't know. You have to wait and see on other people's testings with her and find out the true numbers for people that actually have her and build her properly. Yeah, the crappy Bayland is living in many years ago, and Ebba's living in like 6 months ago. But yeah, let's start having a look at the Insight units. This one isn't as exciting, but I still want to have a look at this because I like looking at Insight units because they can sometimes, very rarely, be quite good. So Dilmordo, for some reason, has got Insight. Now, I think it's a bit weird, because do you remember when they first announced when Insight was going to be a thing? When they just released Insight, they said it's going to go up to Roland, right? Well, Dilmordo, wasn't Dilmordo after Roland or before Roland? I don't remember. But Dilmordo isn't really in order, because we haven't even had Eliza yet. So having Dilmordo already as an Insight unit is just a bit strange. But they don't have an order. I tell you this, Adis doesn't have an order. They got no particular order of Insight units, they just release them randomly. And releasing Dilmordo's Insight now, probably because of Shift Lilebette, that's my guess. Yeah, I know, New Bayland's kind of... we like to stop talking about it and pretend it didn't happen, because otherwise we start getting mad and disappointed about how bad this unit is. But yeah, we try not to talk about terrible Bayland. Yeah, let's have a look at this unit now. If my cat would stop being loud. You have to do this. You don't have to. You don't have to. Can you leave? Okay, let's have a look. So, I don't have a list of everything that has been added in his Insight, but I do want to have a brief look of everything that is in his kit and like overall how he's going to work. So, Dilmordo is a very old unit. I remember using him when he released. He was mainly used for PvP. I doubt he's going to be used again, really, that much. The skill 2, having a chance to cut enemy fire resistance, is quite useful in some situations, I suppose. And the traits are the same, they haven't changed, but I just want to have a quick look just to, you know, remind myself of what they are, because I've never used this unit in many years. I think the main good thing about this unit is physical attacks deal a fire extra attack once only, whatever that means, but his extra attacks are quite good. He has a lot of extra attacks in his kit, and the damage of the next skill attack is doubled if damage is nullified. So that doubling the damage of the next skill, I wonder if that doubles the damage cap as well. I doubt it, but I don't know. So let's just have a quick look at what skills he has. I'm just going to go through the more notable ones, I suppose. Like Fighting Spirit Max and Human Slayer is quite nice. Also Human Shield. He used to be a PvP focused unit when it came out. Yeah, Ebba being released a while ago, I wish that happened. She should have been released a long time ago, honestly. Grand Brave Awaken, Giga Drive, definitely in Insight for sure. Pirate Speed is nice to have. Don't tell me as a breaker unit, because we really don't need one when we got Vaughn instead. I mean, there isn't really too much that I'm seeing that he's been added with passive skills alone. Actually, I did have a list. Did I save that picture? The answer is probably not. No. Yes, no. No. Yes, no. That's the other one. Because there is a list of his... Nah, never mind. I'm not going to worry about that. Insight. This is everything that he has gotten from Insight. So all of these are Insight skills for this unit. If you want to look about what I talked about with the new Lilebette, then you can check it out once the stream is finished. And I will also talk about her again in the conclusion towards the end. Just because I don't want to keep repeating myself when I know people are going to be watching this later on as a video. More damage cap for fire. 50% skill damage. More special damage cap, critical damage. Never really cared too much about critical damage cap because just, you know, cut damage taken, boost fire, and dark resistance, illness, curse, skill charge 3. Nullify damage equal to max HP. So, like, here's the thing, like, his kit doesn't really have much in it. It's just a damage dealer, right? It's just another damage dealer. And he has not that much damage cap increases in general. Like, 40,000 is good, right? But by itself, it's not going to be that much. So, also, he's got paid equipment, Godforge, or whatever. Fire damage 20%. Battle start, give unit a 20-second buff with SCT recovery speed, physical damage, and physical attacks deal fire extra attack. Now, here is what is very good about this unit. And this was always a thing with this unit, so it's no different, I believe. But physical attacks dealing an extra fire attack basically doubles his hit counts completely. This blue crystal space area and Lilebette showed up. That's interesting. I'm hearing a lot of different animations going on today. It's funny. This is funny. Lilebette appearing is quite interesting though. So this fire extra attack is the main good thing about this unit, but once you don't have those extra attacks after 20 seconds, he probably falls off quite a lot. So now let's try him out in this unit test play quest to see how good he is. I don't expect too much from this guy. He's probably not going to be doing too much. So he gets a buff at the start of the battle for 20 seconds, which is extra damage fire. So during his physical attacks, deal extra fire damage. Now this is every attack, and he has dual wield as well. Because he's got 2 claws equipped, he's dual wield unit. So every attack is going to double, and he has dual wield as well on top of that. So you're doubling double, you know, like triple wield basically for 20 seconds. So if I use a skill 3, you'll notice the hit counts are going to be insanely high. 68, right? And that's a lot of hit counts for a skill 3, right? But you also got to remember that this is only for 20 seconds because of that buff. It does doubling the hit counts. And his base damage cap isn't that high either. And if you were to compare it to like Lilebette, Lilebette's going to do like 100 times better, so... It's a lot of hit counts. Damage cap isn't very high though, and now the buff is gone, so I don't have the extra attack. You can see the skill 3 is now going to do literally half the amount, so it's only doing 34 now. And he only has 90,000 damage cap in this unit test play quest. As a dual wield damage dealer, is quite low. So I don't think he's going to be comparable to more recent units. I think his only DPS potential, possibly, is going to be when in the first 20 seconds. And then after that, he's probably just going to fall off a cliff and die. Because of just underwhelming damage caps. That's my guess. So let's do a few more tests of this unit. He is also getting more damage cap from this arc. This one gives 3,500 more damage cap as well. and some more damage cap from that accessory too. So his base damage cap is very low, for sure, very low damage cap. But if you boost his damage cap with, if you use Susanoo on this unit or Icy Guardian, probably Susanoo, it's going to be quite good and quite funny, because you're going to have a 68 hit skill free, and then you put on Susanoo, which gives you 75,000 more damage cap and a lot of damage. That's going to make it usable. that's the problem, is when a unit requires Susanoo or something like that to be usable, you know it's not going to be anything crazy. But I do like his skill. I like his skill free. If you can spam this with, you know, spam this with Honey Elixir and that type of stuff, then I think could be pretty good. Yeah, Susanoo, whatever, Sussiban, Susanoo, Susnan. It's a weird name, I always say it weirdly, but special time. This one won't do very much, I can already tell. I mean, the damage cap is nice, but that's about it. Well, I'm gonna try and kill this guy as fast as I can. A movie clip with the song used during the unit showcased. That's interesting. So I think the best DPS for this unit is definitely just spamming skill free non-stop. And it's not bad, but here's the thing, is Lilebette's DPS is probably going to be better than this. And I know I'm comparing a new unit to an Insight unit, I know, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out there. But if you can give Dilmordo a bunch of damage cap and an SCT battery unit like Lena with Honey Elixir to allow him to spam his skill free non-stop, for those 20 seconds where he has those double hits, I think he could be pretty decent. But outside of those first 20 seconds, I don't think he's going to be that great. So, is he worth building Insight? Is really up to you. I'm going to say no. For most players, don't bother. Only build him if you really like this unit. But apart from that, you don't really need to worry about this Insight because it's nothing crazy. And most unit Insights are going to be like that. And he does basically require his Paid Claw, because this is the Paid Claw that gives him the physical damage, extra fire attacks buff, right? And if you don't have this, then he's basically just useless and not worth using. So, for the materials that you need to build him, I just don't think it's worth doing, unless you really like him. If you really like this unit, then build him if you like. He's going to work for sure, and I think in the first 20 seconds it could be pretty fun to use, and he should be decent with DPS if you can keep his skill free up. But apart from that, he's definitely going to be underwhelming for a damage dealer, because lack of damage caps is definitely going to hurt his performance quite a lot. So I think it's going to work. I'm not going to be building him personally because he's not worth it, and there are a lot of better options. He's only going to be a unit worth building if you like the unit. That's up to you. I think it'll be fun, but you don't need it, and 90% of players are going to not build him at all because there's no point, right? But some players that like Dilmordo are going to be building him. That's fine. He can be used now. That's the positive thing. He can now be usable, and you can probably make him perform pretty well if you've got all the tools available. But you can do that with any unit nowadays. Only do it if you really like that unit specifically, so that's up to you. I think that is everything in regards to the showcase. quite interesting. The unit, quite interesting. I will talk about them in the conclusion in a moment. The insights, nothing crazy really. Honestly, you didn't get too much added to his insight. He's just a damage dealer at the end of the day. The events, I'm just going to quickly show this event, and then I do want to finish up in a moment, because we pretty much talked about everything that I wanted to, and it's been almost 3 hours, so it's definitely been quite a while. So this event is like a, log sayers, another type of event like this. I think it's going to be pretty good, because if you have a look at these stages, these can drop a lot of materials and even rainbow potions. So I do think this event's going to be quite a good one to farm. You can even get Mother Souls as well. So I do highly recommend to farm this event, and all of these stages can give those materials too, and like God Forge materials, what I'm trying to say, quite a lot of them. So definitely going to be a good event to farm, especially if you're just starting off today. Then this event is going to be a very good one that you're going to want to farm as much as you can to get all the materials, if possible, because it's going to be very nice. And just as a reminder, just to let everyone know, there are more anniversary tickets in this event when we cleared some of these stages. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, and some crystals. So get some more tickets in here, very nice. And a trading space, I've already traded for the tickets in the trading space, but there are a couple more tickets in here too, and also the anniversary medal trading space, there's some more anniversary tickets that I've already traded for. Like at the bottom, there's a couple more in there. But yeah, make sure to get those. Yeah, having a chance to get a rainbow potion is definitely very useful, because being able to get your unit instantly to level 100 is just saves a lot of time, and I do like that. So I'm definitely going to be farming this quite a bit later today for sure, and probably just chilling with this event honestly, and hoping to get the unit from tickets. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing any daily summons, because I got the Ark. That's the one thing I wanted the most from the banner, so because I got that, I'm not going to be spending any more crystals on the banner. Right, so yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in today's stream. Also, when you log in today, you do get some rewards, crystals and tickets, and make sure to input the code Ether Driver or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's Ether Driver, and you get 5 more tickets and a rainbow potion. I forget how you access it on here, but I know there is a website. Yeah, Ether Diver, make sure to input that, and you get 5 more tickets before next week, because it lasts about a week. So make sure to input that into the website, which I don't remember where you can access it on the game itself. I have the website saved on my phone, so it's most likely going to be in the news somewhere. You can probably look at the official website and check it somewhere, but yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today. So, conclusion for today's stream, definitely a lot to cover today, but definitely a very nice update. I do really like this anniversary. I like all the anniversaries in this game. They always add a lot of updates. I just wish they would do some more updates a bit more often. Like the previous 2 updates with Ebba and Balin were kind of underwhelming. There wasn't too much going on there, but in regards to the new unit and the Ark, I do consider these 2 to both be very good. And this is a very good banner to pull on if you're just starting, or if you're a newer player, or a player that doesn't have the collab limited top tier DPS units. If you don't have Callan, Sholtier, or Joshua, then I feel like Lilebette's going to be a very good addition to your account, and to new players in particular, she's going to be very good because she's providing a lot for a damage dealer. She has a lot of SET regen, like that infinite SET for 10 seconds is going to be very useful, and she even gets 1 SET stock for all of her skills at the start of a wave. Very nice to have for sure. And she's got Trishula built into her kit for her skills and her special. Those most important things that a newer player are looking for is what she already has in her kit, so she's quite an easy to use unit. All you got to do is just give her any random machine weapon, ideally an earth one, doesn't matter which one it is, and she's going to perform pretty well for you and pretty much allow you to clear like the entire story. So she's definitely going to be a unit worth having. But if you're someone like me that already has top tier units, like the collab units, they're all collab units unfortunately, but Callan, Shaltir and Joshua, like these two, and Shaltir, if you already have those, I don't think she's necessary because she's not going to be as good for endgame DPS. And she's more of a newer player unit, so she's definitely going to be a very useful, very strong unit. But like I said already, if you've already got those existing top DPS units, she becomes less necessary. And this arc is definitely going to be a good one. This arc is going to be quite nice. Now, it's not necessary at all. You don't need to pull this one. Don't chase for it. It's not going to be anything game-changing. But if you do manage to get it, I do think it's going to be quite a useful one, because the trait itself just seems like it's going to be useful in pretty much any units, because attack damage and damage cap to the same attribute as the equipped weapon. I mean, you can use this on basically any unit that is using the same element weapon as the unit themselves, so I consider this trait to be very usable on like the majority of units in this game, and it's just quite a nice one to have. And the learnable skills are quite decent, and nothing super crazy here, but they are still solid learnable skills, and the Archive reward can be useful in the future if there ends up being a earth damage dealer that uses a sword in the future. Then especially dual wield could maybe use this in the future, but right now can't really take advantage of that yet. But it's definitely a good one. I don't recommend to chase for it, just pretend it doesn't exist. If you get it, then great, because it is a very good pickup for sure. If you manage to get it, it's great. If you're someone that has the existing top tier PvE DPS units, then you technically don't need to pull on this, and you could skip this banner. This is more of a banner for players that are just starting or don't have existing top tier DPS units. I know I've repeated myself on that already, but that's like the main takeaway from this banner, is that. So it's not going to be anything game breaking, and not everything needs to be game breaking. It's just going to be very solid, very easy to use, and definitely the best new player friendly unit in the game right now. So I do think she's going to be very nice, and it's going to be the most ideal unit for players that are just starting. And apart from that, isn't too much else going on. Eva's banner can be skipped entirely. She's just a waifu bait banner. She's not that amazing. She's actually going to be worse than Lilebette, so Lilebette's going to be better than Eva. You don't need Eva at all. Lilebette's going to be better in pretty much every way possible than Eva, in my opinion. So it probably is a fact too that Lilebette's going to be better, just because Eva's lack of damage cap is a big problem. And apart from that, rest of the banners are paid banners, and I've talked about those earlier. If you want to have a look at those again, you could go back through the stream and check those out. There's the ticket banner. This one is where you use your anniversary tickets. This is a rate up, by the way. There's a rate up for the unit, and the Ark is the exact same rate up as the normal banner, this one. So I highly recommend to not waste all of your crystals yet, and use your tickets first. If you're a newer player, then now is the perfect time to reroll if you're planning to reroll, because you can input the code, get 5 more anniversary tickets, and you can also get some tickets from the event itself, and use all those tickets, hopefully get Lilebette. If you get Lilebette, then your account is going to be great. If you get Lilebette with like Spirit Maiden Sarah and some other like support or mage or something, then you're definitely off to a good start. In regards to the Insight unit, just quickly, he's nothing crazy. You don't really need to worry too much about him because he's not going to be changing anything. He's just a like average type damage dealer for PvE, and if you like him, then go ahead and build it as that's you. It's not really necessary. No one's missing out on anything with that unit with Dilmordo. So I think I'll leave it there for today. Pretty fun anniversary, definitely a lot in this anniversary, and some stuff coming up soon, like the summons yard should be starting later on today, and there is also a new story that they've added today that I haven't started yet either, so definitely some stuff to do today. And also next week there's going to be some more updates, and in 2 weeks from now there's going to be another unit and Ark, of course, so I'm looking forward to that next week. In 2 weeks, I mean. I'll be here in 2 weeks for the next units, but next week, remember, there is going to be some more event updates next week, and some more banners and stuff. There should be a new Battleground Simulator boss coming up soon, so you might need to save your tries for that. I'm hoping they reset tries to 20 again. I haven't read up anything about that yet. And then this sealed treasury, Histomia, should get a third one quite soon as well, I think. So definitely some stuff coming up soon this month, so definitely some stuff to look forward to and stuff to do right now, which is always fun. Having more stuff to do is always great. And I'm very much looking forward to this new game mode. I'm interested to see how it plays out and, you know, what they do with it in the full release, because currently it's just a beta. But yeah, I'm going to leave that there for today. I believe I managed to cover everything. It's been about 3 hours. I will add the timestamps in the next 10-15 minutes, and I will be back for the next stream in 2 weeks from now. Hopefully you have a nice anniversary with this game, because anniversary is always the perfect time to re-roll. If you were considering to join the game, then there's always opportunities to join, but the best opportunities to join are always in anniversary or collabs. So now's a good time if you're considering, if you're just starting, up to you, but you can definitely get some good stuff with Lilebette. She's going to be amazing for basically every single new player, and the fact is, you don't need to worry about her build too much, because you can just use her and she should work. But if you want to reach her maximum potential, hitting weakness and hitting specific enemy types are going to be necessary to reach her maximum potential, so it's a bit more difficult there. But yeah, I'm going to leave that there for today. I'll add the timestamps in a moment, and hopefully everyone gets what they wanted from this anniversary, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.